Hey everybody, Rhyme with thanks for subbing at tier 3. Very generous of you. Hey Toulouse, hey Atomic Man. So I got some quick updates. One is that, well, I should probably share this later, but at 12:30 my time, so it is currently 8:30 my time. So in about 4 hours, we're going to be premiering a video on YouTube. I've never done this before. I don't even really know what it means. Like, do people watch it together or something? Or is it just saying it's going to release at 12:30? But yeah, I recorded a video yesterday. What does this mean? There's chat. Okay, so I assume then you can live chat during the premiere, and then I don't know where those comments go. But yeah, anyway, there's that. Hey, Frosted Sentry. So let's put this down here. Then this is to Monadic Bind, who probably isn't here right now. But he helped me out with a couple of different things. Hey, Mods Regenerators. Hey, Matt. How's the prototype going? It's going well. I did a little bit of work on it yesterday, not too much. And then this I need to do later today, but I did get my YouTube quota increased. So we were talking about this the other day where I had a quota of 10,000, which is very difficult to use. It's been raised to 60,000 now. So I have changed the polling time from 15 seconds down to 5 seconds. So now on YouTube, if you type a command, I mean, you need to wait upwards of 5 seconds instead of upwards of 15 seconds. So it's still not instantaneous. I could probably lower it a little bit further, but yeah, there. And if I were to run something else here, I need to update the command anyway. But I run another command, it's like, you're seeing it respond in a reasonable amount of time. It's not a painful amount of time like it was before. You have YouTube updates section in Discord. There's a content announcements section, but I do post to it. So this channel, if you go to, what is it, server settings and then roles, no, not that. If you go to, what is it, edit, no, wait, darn it, I forgot what this is. Hang on a second. Oh, there it is. Yeah, click channels and roles at the top. It says, do you want to be notified when Adam starts a stream? Click yes. It will tag you when I go live. I don't tag people for YouTube videos because they're not live, but they're in the same channel. So yeah. And if you're aware of that, then yeah, same general place. Okay, so yeah, that's great. I'm glad we got this. I want to check at the end of the day. So I'll just write this here. Check YouTube quota after a day of having 5-second polling. If it turns out, let's say at the end of the day we're at like 50%, then I can change 5 seconds down to maybe like 4 seconds or 3 seconds or something. And at that point, I don't really care about going too much lower. I mean, ideally they'd be responding in real time, but I'm not going to keep submitting more quota and requesting. Polling is required. Yeah. So I want to do a video called "The YouTube API Sucks," and I want to talk about the things that I faced because yeah, that you even need polling is number one. The whole quota component of this is number two, and the third was documentation. And so anyway, that'll probably be the next video I do. Yeah, anyway, kind of sucks that it's a like overtly negative video, but I kind of want to try that. Also, I do feel this way, I guess, about the API. All right, so today, Adam is continuing to work on idle ascendance. At a stream uptime of about, what would it be? Like 2.5 hours. He'll be interviewing Steve Willard. See more at interviews. Right, this command works. Let's find out. Yeah. Okay, so for those who have not heard, the goal is still to try to get this game out by, oh, perfect timing. Yeah, wow, absolutely perfect timing. No, wait, no, not absolutely perfect timing. Slightly imperfect timing. If this were only after mine. Anyway, the new today command is pretty much the same. And I guess you just saw right there anyway. So the goal is to get this game out by the end of next week. Well, the prototype, I mean, and have it so that people can play it. So that's what we're aiming for. I went through yesterday and did a couple of things. For one, I added in damage numbers to the battle. I did this very hastily, but if we go into a battle, you can see damage numbers fly out of the enemies. It doesn't look great. I don't really care too much. I just wanted something to be there. At least now you can tell which enemy got damaged, but yeah, it clearly needs some work. So I did that. I also made it so that, I'll show you. I made it so that whichever way you're moving is the direction your character's facing. And I probably did something else that was pretty minor. Oh yeah, I disabled collision when you're in battle. So now other enemies that move onto me aren't getting stuck on top of me. And they get re-enabled after the battle. So those are the changes I made. So yeah, let's just start working on this, I guess. Hey, Broken Crown. So allow for learning new abilities. When you hit a certain level, unlock new active abilities. For the sake of testing, just do this at level 2 and level 3. Probably add a hotkey that levels you up each time you press it. Okay, yeah, let's make it so that when you press X, it levels you up. Is there like a key code thing that I already did? Yeah, here. Okay, this is the world map. So if you press X, then we'll just level up your character. Debug level up player character. All right, Funk Void. Okay, so how does this work? Do we keep track of your character? Well, we could get them all, I guess, and check what's owned by the player. I feel like we should probably have a quick link to it. But for now, let's just do it in a way that works. Actually, you know what? Let's not even... Let me see. Skill tree.set associated character. Oh, yeah. So let's do var player character. And then down here, set it. And then down here, use it. So player character dot primary character data dot level up. I think that's it. I don't know if level up actually exists over here. No, it's grant experience. Okay, well, let's make another debug level up function here. And just for now, we'll just say grant experience 20. Because, I mean, that's how this works. So, pretty easy. And now we'll call that function. Except for that shouldn't have an underscore there. There we go. Is that point? Okay, and that's it. And there's no indication that you leveled up, I guess. So let's go try this. I'm level 1. I press X. It does nothing. But I'm guessing after we get into a battle, probably it will have worked. I'm just going to keep using Crush. It's an 80% chance to insta-kill right now. I think this game is going to be fun. I can at least see it being fun. Come on. Kill the enemies. Nothing's balanced. This battle shouldn't probably take this long in the beginning. Okay, there. Yeah, it upgraded me to level 5 there. I saw that. So then all we need to do is figure out how do we update this thing? Overworld character. There is a... Yeah, set level text. Here it is. All right, where does this happen right now? This is only in Battle Was Won. So I think we should have a signal. Yeah, I think we should have a signal here. So character data should have like a leveled up signal. Signal leveled up. And then what do we want to emit from this? I guess there's only one signal we're listening to. In fact, let's just keep it leveled up. That's fine. All right, so then down here, we're going to emit leveled up. Emit, done. Then in world map, where we have the player character, so it's character data that emits this. We're going to do player character dot primary character data dot level up dot connect. Yeah. And this will be self dot on level up. Player level up. Yeah. Yeah. Let's do that, I suppose. Okay, now we need the set. Oops, this is totally wrong. What am I doing? Yeah, this is totally wrong. This is the wrong class. Didn't realize. It's character. It's overworld character that needs it. primary character data. Actually, I guess the signal could be emitted no matter what. But yeah, set level text. And then if is owned by player, then primary character data dot, what's it called? Leveled up. Yeah, leveled up dot connect self dot on player level up. Okay, now let's go put this in here. And that's it. Now we don't need to call set level text every time a battle was won. Should just automatically know. And that means that this should just work. Yeah. All right, let's try that out. So now when I press X, we should just see that number go up. Yeah. Now it should also be increasing the amount of life I have. So if I just press this a bunch of times, I can hold it down. Yeah, if I press this a bunch of times and then get into a battle, I should be pretty much unkillable. I guess let's just automate the battle. There. Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell because I don't think I'm... Yeah, I took 5 damage and we didn't even see it change the bar. Also, we just let this run for a long enough time. It'll be very obvious. Not that we need to. So I think that's that. Is there anything else I want to do for this? Maybe change it to... No, actually, I think this is fine. Yeah. Holding... I need to write before we launch this to delete this. That part's pretty important. Where is it? Pre-launch tasks. Yeah. Remove any debug functions. Remove any debug functions or hide them behind a flag that disable them for the web export. Yeah, we can see our character is barely taking any damage. And now all the ally slimes are going to be dead. And then only the character is going to be taking damage. But what is it adding? Like 10 life per level? So it's added 2,000 life, I suppose? So yeah, taking 5 damage is next to nothing. Damage numbers look a lot cooler when they're coming out of the same character. Still look bad, though. All right, so this just allowed us to automatically level up a character. What we wanted to do here is make it so that you could learn new abilities. So when you hit a certain level... So what we should do here is we should probably say, like... leveled up. And then put this stuff in its own function. Or maybe level up. Yeah. All right, and so when you hit level 2, let's teach you a new ability. How did we do this? / ability. I don't even have new abilities, do I? Oh, the game's a prototype. Like, this was all made in about a week. So, yeah, it's not supposed to look good right now. And that's what I'm saying. Like, even the damage numbers, I probably took, like, 7 minutes yesterday adding those. We're trying to get this done as fast as possible and get this to the point where we can test if it's fun. So, yeah, it'll look bad. I think, and actually, okay, here's the other thing to consider. If it's not fun, we'll just never make it. And so imagine all the time we'll save by just not having worked on polish for a game that never sees the light of day. So I think this is a very, very good way of doing things. I'm very happy about it. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this goes at the end of next week. I think people like it. I think it'll probably have some kind of like a slump toward maybe about an hour or so in, assuming we even have that much prototype gameplay. Programmer art. Well, the art itself is like professional art. I just like, yeah, those sprites that I have are from Oryx Design Labs. And I like the artwork. This is actually used in some games that are monetized out there. I mean, Realm of the Mad God used these too. So that part, at least, I'm happy with. But yeah, there's a lot of other things I could do with this. So I did not add in another ability, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think I only have the constants behind it. Let's see. Yeah, I did not add in a new one. Okay, so let's just This isn't going to do anything, I guess. Or you know what we could do? We could just have it be debug attack ability. I don't know how I feel about this. Yeah, I'll just add this in for now. And we'll just have it do the exact same thing that Slash would have done without any buffs, which I guess is just this. Rallying Cry. Okay, cool. So let's put this here. Rename this to Rallying Cry ability. Rallying Cry. None of this matters. Yeah. Deal 50 damage. I don't know. It's supposed to be a buff. You say that you're passing this out to alpha testers this week. That's the goal. So that might not happen. We have a lot of tasks to get through. And I've got the plan for the next like 8, let's say. But then after that, there's probably still some more. So if we can't get through them all, then I'll just delay it a little bit longer. In the process of being laid off from my first programming job since I left college about 5 years ago, struggling to update my resume. Now, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I think layoffs have been pretty rampant in the tech industry, and it's been going on now for, what, like a year and a half or something? So it's been quite a while. Hopefully, they gave you a severance package and you've got some time to get back on your feet. But yeah, the job search process is just never fun. I wish you luck. All right, so here's Rallying Cry. We also want one for whatever I call the other one, Wild Strike, I think. Wild Strike. All right, there we go, yeah. All right, so this is going to be Wild Strike. Wild Strike. And it's going to do the exact same thing. Great. Okay, so here's the whole reason why we did this is because down here, we can check to see if you're a certain level to unlock a skill. And so in this case, we're just going to say if level is greater than or equal to 2. Now, I have add ability. I guess I want to unlock an ability. Unlock ability. And this will be Rallying Cry. And at level 3 or higher, we're going to say unlock ability Wild Strike. It'll be a nice buffer. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's at least a positive because sometimes you end up finding a job before the severance runs out and you essentially just got a bonus to just look for a job. And I realize that looking for a job is typically more stressful than doing a job, but it's usually less work than doing a job. Why can't I use my Prime? They've changed things around a little bit. You've now got to go through Elevate your subscription to get there. Yeah. So unlock ability, we haven't actually coded yet. Thank you, X4. I appreciate it. And thanks for asking about it too, because I wonder how many people just don't even ask and then they just don't use their Prime because they think it's not available or something. Oh, thank you too, Zapwood. Oh, nice. Congrats, Sizzler. Companies laying off its workforce. That was one of them, yeah. Well, congrats on the first part. Sorry, I hadn't read the whole message yet. Sorry about the second part. I feel bad for saying that. Didn't see that. I need to scroll up in there. Yeah. And hey, Han on YouTube. I think it's a very intentional change by Amazon/Twitch to make it so that the Twitch Prime usage goes down. It's kind of crazy if you think about it, right? Like, how many Amazon Prime users are there? Or customers, I guess you should say. And I'm going to guess millions. I mean, we could just look this up. But so now imagine that you even get like 5% fewer Twitch Prime usages. Depending on the country that you're in, Amazon has to pay somewhere between, I'm just going to estimate here, like $1 to $2 per person. So if you have millions of users and each one of them, well, not each one of them is using their Twitch Prime, but still, like, think of how much money it saves to just make it a little bit harder to get to using your Twitch Prime. It's kind of the same way with unsubscribing from things, right? Like, if you make your unsubscription process just that much harder, there are going to be some people who just say, I'll just do this later. And they don't do it later, and you get more money, and you don't even have to render a service. So, yeah, we'll have to see where all that goes. So yeah, if you already have the ability, then just return. Otherwise, we need to make a new one of these. This is kind of bad, the way I have to do this. But we're just gonna, like I said, we're gonna shortcut through this too. Oh, congrats to you too, AJ Hendricks. Little one is 6 years old. Boss kind of notified me before I left for paternity leave. Yeah. Yeah, lovely timing. I know, and you're probably like run ragged by just adjusting this new life. Hey, Gogo. How are you doing? Okay, so let's put a match here on ability ID, and we'll do this. Hey, nice. It knows exactly what I want. And in the case that we don't have this, I guess just unknown ability ID. Unknown ability ID in unlock ability. All right, there we have it. So now when we level up, we should get these skills. I don't really know what this is going to do. I don't think there's going to be any indication that you have this. Yeah, I'm leveling up, but oh wait, no, wait, that wouldn't have done anything. Oh, darn it. It probably did work. Let me try that again. Okay, cool. So I level up once. I level up again. Okay, so leveling up doesn't update the skill tree. It needs to update the skill tree. I did switch to Mac, yeah. Oh, I had done that, I guess, in sort of the middle of last year. I think you were here in December. Yeah, although just on the first day of returning. Probably wasn't obvious which operating system I was using. 10 weeks of paternity leave and only took 3. Oh, no, yeah. Oh, I think if you'd taken the other 7, I don't think they could have fired you on it or laid you off. Well, I'm not actually sure how that works. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. Oh, man. Well, that's too bad. Yeah, I second that. Best of luck to both of you. Hey, Mac. All right, so bug we need to fix is leveling up should update the skill tree. They can't fire you till you come back, yeah. Yep. Okay, so something needs to call this. I guess, do we ever do skill tree dot anything here? Like the world map has this, but it never has to update it. Yeah, and I guess the skill tree is associated with a particular character. There are a couple of ways we could do this. We could, when you set an associated character, we could tell the character that it is associated with a skill tree. That's a bad way of doing things. Ideally, we'd have a signal here, and the skill tree would just listen to this. In fact, let's do that. Yeah, I want to listen to its level. This shouldn't be here twice. I want to listen to its level up signal, but I want to cancel any signal I would have had from before. Can you do that? Godot cancel a signal or like disconnect a signal? This has to be doable, right? You can disconnect signals. Okay, how do you do this? Oh, it's pretty much the same way that you do with connect. You just put disconnect. Okay, well, pretty easy then. Great, so let's try that. Let's do character data dot connect dot leveled up dot connect self dot update skill tree. Sure. All right, and then if there was a character data, if character data is not equal to null, then disconnect it. I'll put like character leveled up. Yeah, and this will call update skill tree, and that way these can be just character leveled up. Yeah. Okay, I think that should be good. This should just work. So now we open up the skill tree, we click this 4 times, and then I'm going to press X to level myself up, and this should light up. It did not. Oh, weird. Oh, I know why. Because of the order that this is happening in. Oh, how do we fix that? Ah, right here. We just emit leveled up at the very end. Okay, that should do it. Okay, so I press it once, I press it twice. Good, cool. So we saw these things go up, and now we can put points in them. Awesome, this is working. Hey, Syntonic. Hey, Folly Pill. Back in my original skin. Did you have to wait, what, like 60 days? I guess? Wait a second, though. No, your last name wasn't that. It was, what? Scott Sump or something like that? Yeah, I figured I'd know who you are, yeah. Hey, Pretzel. End of July during 60-day retention period. Yeah, July's pretty good. Yeah, some. Yeah. Yeah, see? See? I know. I pay attention to my chat. All right, I think we're good on both of these fronts. When you hit a certain level, unlock new active abilities. For the sake of testing, just do this at level 2 and level 3. And make sure to update the skill tree. Yeah, these are both working. All right, you can now learn abilities. Few hours of guitar practice, nice. Nice, yeah. Yeah, and at this point, it's like, okay, you've done this for a little bit of time. If you end up doing it for another couple weeks and you're like, I don't really feel like doing this anymore, then yeah, by all means, drop it. But it sounds like it's going well right now. So this I don't like right here. I don't like that I have a match and then I'm going to need literally every single ability in the game. I guess I need some way of going from an ability ID to an ability. And like ideally, the way I would do this is I would have this be manifested in the ability data itself. But for the sake of the prototype, does not matter whatsoever. Recite everything everyone said today. Let's see. I think Tolus was the first person in chat, said, hey guys. Then, oh darn it, who was the second person? Atomic Man. And then Raimu subbed with the tier 3 sub. And then it gets hazy after that. Oh yeah, Tolus said, hey guys, I forgot the Atom Fire. Then hey from Atomic Man, then a tier 3 sub. And then, yep, just like I said, I forgot the rest of it. See? Spot on. Looking at third unknown monitor. There's a light over here. All right. So, did I do this right? Yeah, I think I did this right. Oh, we didn't try leveling up from a battle, though. I need to test that. So in character data, let's just have experience go up by 20. There. That's a hack. But this should let us test this pretty easily. So now I just need to go get in a battle. Click, 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 click. And then we go and get in a battle. Oh, by the way, I made the character move faster, so it's easier to get into a fight. Unfortunately, there's no way to speed up fights unless I change the code. I never added a shortcut or something to make you super powerful. And maybe I should do that. Or maybe I should just make it so that like sweeping arc does 100 damage. Or a skill that does that. I don't know. Whatever. We're just going to wait for this. And then what we should see is that that level 1 up here turns into level 2. Yes, it did. Okay, that's it. Yep. What do I think about Godot in comparison to Unity? I haven't used them both concurrently, I would say. So like I used Unity in about 2015. I used Godot in 2020 and then again now. It's really hard for me to compare them because they're just not both fresh in my mind at the same time. All right, this looks good. Character leveled up. Yep, this looks good. Yep, looks good. Looks good. Yeah, so these are just fake abilities. Okay, so allow for learning new abilities. When leveling up, you now learn new abilities. These are just debug abilities for now. Press X to level up automatically. Yeah. All right. Looks good there. So now we just mark this as done. Close. Did that? Why is it not moving? Nope, there it goes. Okay, now allow for equipping abilities. So I had prototype level UI for this. Yeah, so I've been thinking a lot about this because I didn't know how I would do this. And here's what I think we're going to do. I'm going to take a picture of this. So I think the thing that makes the most sense is we just put some checkboxes over here, and that represents which abilities are equipped. And whenever you have exactly 3, it sets them in your character. So the way that checkboxes work, of course, we're going to have, you know, skill 1, skill 2, 3, 4. Hang on, I'm trying to get used to this layer that I have. Okay, yeah, so we have this. You're going to check these boxes. And this is what the game is going to start looking like. In order to select skill 4, you need to either uncheck something first, in which case you're not in a valid state, so this won't get set, or you need to check skill 4 first, in which case you're not in a valid state. So you have to go from a valid state to an invalid state to get to the set of skills you want. To avoid that, you can make these not checkboxes. So by the way, the requirements are always have exactly 3 abilities equipped. And if you're not in this state, then you're in an invalid state. And so the other way you could kind of consider doing this is like, okay, you click skill 5 and it removes the last skill or the first skill you had equipped. And that way you can only transition between valid states, but that's like way less usable. So yeah, I think I'm just going to make checkboxes next to it and we'll just figure out how this works. So what that means is we need a 5th column in our grid container. So right there, we need a 5th column. And then before we even get to the label, we need a new checkbox. I don't know what a checkbox is in Godot. Oh, it's just a checkbox. There's also check button. I guess they're just different representations of this. Yeah. Can you disable 4 and 5 and force you to uncheck another skill? Well, I'm not sure what you mean by that. Hey, Rami. I guess what I mean is like, imagine your starting state is you have 1, 2, and 3 equipped. And let's say you want like 2, 4, and 5 equipped. Prevent the user from going in an invalid state. But how would you do that with what you're suggesting? Because if you have any fewer than 3 abilities, you're also in an invalid state. You would check 3 to turn it off, then click 5. But by checking 3 to turn it off, you're in an invalid state. Because then you'd only have 2 skills. Oh, I see. Okay, you change the requirements. Yeah, no, I don't think that's a good idea. Because battles are based around having 3 at any given time. Is there a situation where I only like 2 skills because my character is automated? I don't want to idly cast skill number 3. There might be, but the game's not going to let you do that. So if that does turn out to be a problem, it's probably more a game balance problem. That's my guess, than a game design problem. Because yeah, what happens if you have a super powerful ability and that's all you ever wanted to use and it has no cooldown? Like, I don't know. I feel like it's a balance problem. Okay. So yeah, I'll add in these checkboxes next to it. So these are called checkbox. And I need to figure out how you make these because I think there's like a button group or something you need to do. So skill tree var checkbox APX. Quite the point usage there. And we need to add this in. Okay, so what does a checkbox have? It has text, so let's go set that. Oh wait, no, we don't need text. Right, as long as it looks like a checkbox. Yeah, it does. Okay, so we don't need text. We do need a button group, which means we need to add a... Wait, do we even need that? technically no, right? Because they're checkboxes. Toggle mode, button pressed. What does keep pressed outside mean? Button stays pressed when moving the cursor outside the button. Okay, I don't know. Yeah, I think this is probably fine. What do we have here? Toggled. So we want a signal on toggled. So delete this. All right, so how are we going to do this? On toggle equipped. On toggle equipped ability. And it's going to be the skill ID. Okay. So this is going to be a little bit to code. Yeah. All right, for now, let's just print out toggled, comma, skill ID. Okay, so at the very least, we'll see that we can click these things. All right, these look really weird for some reason. Oh, I know why, because it's getting the theme from over here. I guess we want to override that state. All right, let's write down everything we've got for this that we need. Change theme of checkboxes so that there isn't a blue background. You might say that's just a polish thing, but I think it's like actively confusing. So change theme, disable checkboxes for abilities that you haven't unlocked. Yeah, I think I'll work. But it should be printing out, right? It's not? Uh-oh. On toggle equipped is declared whenever used. Oh, I never connected it. Whoops. Okay, there we go. It's still not working? What did I do wrong? Error calling from signal toggled. Method expected one argument called with two. Oh, it's called with whether it's toggled on or off. Oh. Toggled on. Bool. So toggled skill ID and then toggled on. Let's do %d%s. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to render correctly because I don't know how Booleans get converted, but let's find out. Yeah, toggled 3 true, toggled 3 false, toggled 7 true, toggled 11 true and false. Yeah, good. Cool. So now what we need to do is see, do you have at least, or do you have exactly 3 checked? So we need to find every checkbox that you have and then figure out which ability it belongs to. So ideally the checkbox itself has some indication of which. Actually, no, we don't have to do this. We could just keep track of a dictionary or something here. Or not even a dictionary, right? It could just be like selected abilities. I'll do equipped abilities. Yeah. And this is going to start with whichever ones are equipped when you set the character. So where do we set that character? There's like a set associated. I'll just search for it. All right, here it is. So equipped abilities equals character data equipped abilities. We need to copy this array. Copy array. I forgot how you do this. Duplicate. Okay. Okay, there we go. Now we need this to reflect the proper checkboxes, which is just not a thing yet to do. Make the checkboxes reflect equipped abilities. All right, so now what? So now it's going to start with like 7, 11, and whatever the other one was, 15 or something like that. And then when you equip an ability, so if toggled on, yep, that's exactly what I want. And now if you have exactly 3, if length equals 3, then we set this back to your selected character. So character data.equipped abilities equals equipped abilities.duplicate. Okay, now what went wrong? There's no size property, or there's no length. What is this, size? What? How do you check the length of an array? GD script length of array. Oh, it's just parentheses? Okay. Wait, what? That still doesn't work? It's count. Ugh. Wait, no, that's not even it either. What am I doing? Okay, let's search for length and see if this was a thing. No, size. Size shows up in a bunch of places. Ready abilities at size. Yeah, it's size and it's a function. Okay. Well, we got there in the end. That took too long. I think we're good. So now we need to also render that there is a bad state here. Indicate an error state when you have size not equal to 3. All right, so let's go try this out. So this should let you equip new abilities. Oh yeah, we don't have this represent this correctly. Oh, this will add them multiple times because we're not representing this. Okay, hang on. Then we need to fix that first part here. That to-do that I wrote in the code right here. Make the checkbox reflect the equipped abilities. All right, how do we do this? So checkboxes don't know which abilities they have. So I would be going through, this wouldn't be smart. Okay, then let's just make a new thing. Let's make like a skill checkbox. So we have skill tree button. Skill tree button. Ooh, this is a, do we have a scene for this? We do? Why? I don't know why I did that. I don't think that's necessary. I think we need to say this whole thing as skill tree checkbox. And then just name this checkbox. And it extends from checkbox. And we have an ability ID. And we init it with that. All right. Yeah, so now when we make one of these things, we make it as a skill tree checkbox. And then load skill tree checkbox. And then initialize it with the skill ID. Okay, there we go. Now we need, oh, that's why we need a scene, so that we can attach a script to it. All right, what's the problem though? Why is all this red? Could not find skill tree. Oh, because did I overwrite it? No. Well, it doesn't matter. Let's go make a new thing. New scene. Checkbox. Skill tree checkbox. Then we attach a script. And then we save this. Okay. Now that should work. Hides a global script class. What? Never seen that before. What? GScript hides a global script class. Make sure you're not defining a class name in your script that you want to auto load. I don't think I'm auto loading anything. This is bizarre. I just want to, let's just reload the project. I don't think this should be a problem. Did that just magically fix it? No, it's still considered to be a problem. All right, so then what is happening here? We have our scene, we attach a script. This is class name skill tree checkbox. Let's call this something else then. Testeroni. And then in skill tree, we'll make a testeroni. That also hides a global script class. So then it's not the name of this because there's no way that that exists somewhere. That's, whew, that is very strange. How could I have done things differently? Skill tree button is right here and is pretty much the exact same code. Out of curiosity, what if we extended button? Although that's probably going to break other code. No, it still says the same thing. Wow, I don't know what's doing this. Let's find this. Found a workaround. Closing as a duplicate of this. Issue is get var and store var do not work properly with inner classes. Oh, is it because of the name of this match? No, that couldn't be that. Well, what's the other issue we have here? I don't know what's actually causing this. Yeah, weird. Maybe tree checkbox. Yeah, I don't know. What if we delete the checkbox altogether? Like, is this a problem with me trying to instantiate a scene, or is it a problem with me trying to... Okay, so it is a problem with me trying to instantiate this. So this on its own, just this line, will cause it to fail. It's just so confusing. And this knows what script it has. Yeah, why did this not fail when it came to skill tree button? What is this type? Type is skill tree button. Oh, does this not know that it's this thinks it's just type checkbox. What? I'm so confused. All right. Let's go back. Close out all these things. Let's open up skill tree button. So if I hover over this, it says type skill tree button. If let's open up the checkbox now. If I hover over this, it just says checkbox. It's not even telling me now. There we go, checkbox. Yeah, so something's wrong there. But like, how did this get to have the proper type? I didn't do anything different. Maybe let's open up the scene itself. This has a script here, and it has a script here, yeah. And then let's open up the checkbox scene. Whoa, look at that. Look at that. This has a script and quotation marks around it. This has an ellipsis at the end, but that's the end of the string. So either they wrote their truncation method wrong, or this is a bug. Oh no, this isn't even text. This is some overlay thing to let me know what this resource is. Okay, never mind. I'm very confused. I don't know why this is happening. Let's, I don't know, detach the script and try reattaching it. I don't know why that would help. Oh, this isn't even the right thing. Darn it. This one. Detach, attach. Does that fix this? Oh man, I've never seen this. And I don't know how this could happen. Wow, bizarre. I wonder if I should just like recreate the entire scene at this point. I don't know why that would matter. What if we made a completely new script? I call this script slash testeroni. And in here I put this stuff. And I call this testeroni. And then I instantiate a testeroni. That works? Are you kidding me? What? What? Okay, here's what I think might be happening. I think it has to do with the order that I made these things in. I've almost always done it scene and then script. But this time around, I did it in the other order. And I don't know if that's what's happening that's wrong here. But given that test I just performed, it kind of looks like that's the case. 50 years, EJ. Wow. What are we doing to celebrate? Thank you for resubbing. Oh man, I can't believe this. All right, so then let's go undo this. Let's just delete this script. Binder, delete. So dumb. All right, now we detach the script, then we attach a new script that we save here. I don't know why it opened up in Godot. That shouldn't even be possible. Save, I guess. Skill tree checkbox. Does that fix this? If this works all of a sudden, and this is just some weird could not find type in the current scope, that shouldn't be happening. Skill tree checkbox. Skill tree checkbox. I saved it. Where's close all? Why is it opening here all of a sudden? Okay, you know what? I'm confused by a lot of things that are happening right now. Keep finding I'm so productive until I take a break. Then the rest of the day I do nothing. It sounds like you're having a hard time getting back on track. What's going on your breaks? And have you tried something like a Pomodoro system? Something is like super messed up right now. I'm gonna try restarting all of Godot because it's loading in the internal editor. That shouldn't even be happening. What's that? The Pomodoro system is. Let me just link in the Pomo focus thing. Yeah, so it's just this sort of thing. You pick how long you want to work for. So typically, yeah, it's something like 25 minutes. Click start. It's just a timer. Then when this is done, you'll go to a short break of 5 minutes. So this might help keep you back on track of being like, oh, I only have 5 minutes on the break. Just eat and relax and rehydrate. Oh, wait, you're talking about like a longer break then. Because I think you should generally be taking pretty regular breaks. And on your short breaks, if you don't find yourself losing focus, then I guess you need to apply something like that to your longer breaks. Alternatively, maybe you're not taking short breaks. Maybe that's the real problem, is that you're burning out over the course of a day. All right, this entire issue that I'm running into is just a weird like sidetracking thing that just never should have happened. This is not a real problem, I feel. Yeah, and I don't know why this is happening now either. It's not even using the external editor anymore. Like it should never be loading in here. Also, that's not even the code that I have. Oh man, this is just so strange. Yeah, it thinks that there's some code here with like ready and stuff that doesn't even exist. It doesn't have that. What happened? Or maybe I need to just save this again like that. Does it have the updated code yet? Man, I just did restart Godot though. It didn't do anything. I find this so weird. The other thing too is it's like, let's say I hit this issue in the future. What's the solution? Just like delete your script and try again? All right, let's quit again completely. Okay, so Godot is closed. We're gonna reopen Godot. Gonna open the game. Gonna close out of this stuff and just hit play. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. This doesn't even exist on disk. Soft reload tool script. I don't think that's what I want. Show in file system. Wait, it's not even showing it in the file system. It's showing the scene. Oh, I don't know. Close out the tabs in VS Code. That should have no impact though. The tabs being open doesn't actually do anything. There's all right, you know what? Let's just start this thing from scratch. Let's delete this entire. Let's delete everything. I just need to make sure that I save the script. Not that this is very important, but there. All right, so now let's go delete these things. Delete this skill tree checkbox. Yep, goodbye and goodbye. All right, so these files are gone for good. We're going to restart Godot again completely. So close out of this, don't save, quit. All right, let's try this again. So we should be able to run the game. It'll fail in skill tree. Yep, that's fine because we never have this thing. That's okay. Now we click new scene. We make a new checkbox. We call this skill tree checkbox. Then I attach a script. And then I save this. Then in the script, let's just delete all of this stuff and make an init function, I guess. Actually, don't worry about it. Let's just leave it as is. Are we calling? Yeah, that's all right. So this should work. Can't find type. This sometimes happens and needs a reload. Oh wait, no, it's not that. It's that I needed to put the class name in and I didn't do that. Class name skill tree checkbox. Okay. Still could not find type. Okay, so now this time it could because I need to reload the project. The first time wasn't though. Yeah, so already, just because that worked, it's like I did need to just repeat this entire thing. What do we have before? Extends checkbox and class name skill tree checkbox. Yeah. This is wild. I just need to undo the entire thing and remake exactly what I had. I literally just copy paste. Okay, that was messed up. That has to be one of the most annoying things I've come across here. Okay, so hides global script class. I'm gonna write a note on this. This happened from GD script, although I guess it could happen in the engine. X hides global script class. So when this happened to me, and there's a lot of double typing going on. I probably like fully broke my keyboard at this point. So when this happened to me, I had been making a very simple scene with a very simple script. And I couldn't figure out what was different from what I normally do. I tried everything, but the only thing that worked was deleting the scene and the script and just recreating them entirely. Yeah, the script contents end up being identical, but it worked. So stupid. So stupid. Okay, fine. Well, what were we doing that for? Oh, yeah. Okay, so here's what I'm going to write. Where I left off is handle the to-do item in skilltree.gd. Yeah. All right, I'm going to take a break. Caching an invalid reference. Yeah, I don't know what was going on, but it does kind of suck that happened. All right, I'll be back in a little bit. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Hey again, close the game. Close the game. Close the game. Okay. Yeah, so fixing that issue in skill tree. Yeah, I want to actually make some progress on this. So let's go find the issue. Here was make the checkboxes reflect the equipped abilities. So what we want to do is we want to get every checkbox. I think we can set a group somewhere. Add to group. Yeah. Here we go. So we could just say constants. Enemy spawn region name. I think there should be like enemy group enemy spawn region. There, yeah, that. and replace those, and then go back to this first one and make another group for skill tree checkboxes. Boxes, it's not box, whatever, it doesn't matter. All right, so skill tree checkboxes. All right, now I want to add to that in skill tree. So where we add child checkbox, put this here, checkbox dot add to group, and then there is a get nodes in group, and then do something with it, and that's what we're gonna do in that to do that we had in skill tree. Yeah, here. All right, and this is what group skill tree checkbox. All right, so this is gonna be checkbox as skill tree check box, and for consistency, we make it 2 words, and then we say if checkbox dot ability ID in equipped abilities, yeah, this else. Actually, let's just do it this way. That way we update all of them. All right, that should do it. So now when we open the skill tree for the first time, we should see the first 3 boxes checked. We do not. Let's go find out why that's breaking. If anyone uses a protractor, some people had made some like custom extensions. They could just click if they wanted to. All right, so what are our equipped abilities? 3, 7, and 11. And now what's the problem here? Why did we skip over that? Oh, there are none? Oh, set associated character hasn't actually built up the tree yet. There we go. All right, that should fix the problem. Toggled on. Invalid set index toggled on. Oh, it's probably not called toggled on. What is it called? Hello. Where's the toggle thing? What? Where is this? Shouldn't there be like a value here or something? Huh. There must be a way to set that this is toggled. Let's just look at checkbox itself. It's not the toggle mode. Skill tree checkbox. All right, I want to look at this thing's documentation. It's not even loading, so fine. Godot checkbox. I'm guessing it's like a set toggled or something. Oh, there it is. No, wait, no, that's not it. Wait, what? Yeah, there. Right, it's not toggle mode, is it? What is toggle mode? If true, the button is in toggle mode. Yeah, how do you get whether it's checked or not? That seems very strange. Get whether checked. Dot pressed. Oh, that's not obvious. All right, so this. I wonder if we can just change this. Maybe we can just set it. Cannot assign a new value to a constant. Using checkbox pressed equals true. Set checkbox is checked through code. How to check with a script. Button underscore pressed. This is getting more and more bizarre. Yeah, that worked. Wow. All right, cool. So anyway, we have our 3 things here. Whenever you set, so where did I do this? search for equals 3. Yeah, so we're going to say set equipped abilities to that. Okay, so when I do this and this, that did not work. It should have said that it set them, and it didn't. Maybe let's just print out the equipped abilities. All right, so it should be an array of size 3, and it's already too big. Oh, right, because of the whole, we're toggling it, so we need to see if it already existed. So if skill ID not in equipped abilities, yeah. Okay. That'll fix everything, I think. All right, let's go take a look now. All right, so we check that. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. So now we can equip different abilities. You always need 3 of these selected. So if you don't have 3 selected, we should show an error somewhere. And for now, let's just show it in, I don't know. Let's just show it in the skill tree itself. Do we have like a reasonable skill tree scene? Yeah, we do. Okay, fine. I'll just add in a warning label here then. Label. Warning label. We'll put this at the bottom. And we'll make this red. You must have exactly 3 skills equipped. I guess equip exactly 3 skills. And can we put in a... Nice, we can. Okay. All right, now I want to make this red. Well, except for that first character, but I'm not going to worry about that. It just needs to be something obvious enough. All right, so there we go. Warning label is going to be off by default, and we're going to turn it on based on this. So warning label dot visible equals equipped abilities dot size is not equal to 3. There we go. Yeah. Great. It looks ugly, but it works. I'll just lower this down a little bit. And then we'll put an exclamation mark. Does Godot not have sets or something? It might have sets, and I could use that to just always have unique values in there. So, yeah. But the way I've been coding all of this stuff has been, does it work? If so, move on. Because I really want to get to the point where we're testing whether this is fun. So, if you see me coding the game for real at some point, like let's say a month from now, and I'm not doing something like that, I think that'll be a really good suggestion to add in. All right, are we done with all of this? What do we do? Change theme so it isn't a blue background. Oh, yeah. How do we do that? How do we do that? So skill tree has a theme here, and we want to override this for... Where are overrides? Oh, no, container or control doesn't have it. We need the overrides to be over here, a theme overrides. And then it'd be... Where is it? It'd be styles normal. Alternatively, let's just make a new theme that makes it look good. Because like this is going to look like trash if it's always blue. Let's see what happens when we give it that theme. New theme. No, I don't want a new theme. I want the other theme just to see. I think it should be blue. Resources, this. Yes, yeah. So that's ugly. So in fact, actually just putting new theme here should be good enough. Yeah, that should just do it. No, that did not just do it. Why didn't that do it though? Maybe because it doesn't override anything? Huh. I don't know. Oh, here it is. Override all. Okay, so I forgot how to use this thing. Godot engine theme. All right, so to use this, click plus at the upper right for, I guess, a checkbox. Checkbox. And then what? And then go through the different styles that we have. Unfortunately, I don't think that actually worked. Manage items. Yeah, delete this. I want to add in checkbox like that. There we go. Now in here, we should find the normal style. We click plus for this. We make a new flat style. And then I don't know what this is supposed to be by default, but I want it to be whatever the default was. But I guess now we should have gray backgrounds behind this. Oh, come on. What is it, transparent? I don't think that's correct, is it? Yeah, it's pretty hard to see that they're there. I guess we need some background, and it just shouldn't be. What if I make it black? No, that looks super ugly. Huh. Hey, Logan. Yeah, interview will be happening in another hour and 8 minutes. I'll be interviewing Steve Willard. Software. Wait, what was my official intro for this? It's in the interviews document. Lead software engineer at Tetra Science, yeah. Hey, Funky Monkey. All right, well, all I want is for this color to not suck. What is the color by default? How is it so hard to figure that out? If I add in a new checkbox. No, this has blue. I want... Oh, man. Why is this so difficult? All right, new scene. Checkbox. Like, what is the background color? I think it's just nothing, maybe, but it's clear that there's a box here. And I think I'm losing that somehow. Because if I set this to completely transparent. Okay, we do have checkboxes there. It's just really hard to see. All right, so what if we made those white? Maybe that would work. I just want these to be visible. I don't need them to look good. But they're like invisible right now, so that's the problem. So how do we change the color of... Where's the origin here? There, yeah. How do we change the color of this part of it? What are you? Oh. Radio unchecked, unchecked. This thing? Can I add a new thing for this? I don't want to do this. I just don't want to do this. I think I need to make a new texture here, and then it's going to look stupid. What is this to begin with? Oh, there's an edit. Edit doesn't do anything, though. I mean, it could be a modulate that I use for this. It does technically change it, but it doesn't do it in a meaningful way. All right, maybe we do add a background then that just isn't, maybe it's like a little bit lighter. No, that looks really stupid. I don't know. I don't know how to make these visible really easily. But fine, then if we can't make them look good, let's just make it stand out. So we'll just make it bright white in the background. And it'll look really stupid, but at least it'll be obvious that it's there. Yeah, that's what we're doing for now. Okay, so now we need something over this saying that it's equipped. So we'll just add in this. Is it layered? It's a texture, I think, being used for the background. And I can't quickly edit that texture. And yeah, it's a little tedious to do right now. Is Godot some just-in-time script language? I don't know if it's compiled or not, or if it's actually interpreted. I'm not sure what happens with it. But yeah, it is a scripting language. All right, so equipped, or maybe is equipped. I think just equipped is fine. All right, then we want to put this roughly there. that should look good. Yeah. Can we also put an arrow? Yeah. Again, this is like all of the UI sins being committed, and I'm just not worried about it right now. All right, so now we just bump that to the left a little bit, and I think we're good. Yeah, slightly farther than the left. Are we changing it in the game over here too? Yes, we are. So we can just do this until we're pointing at the right spot. Okay, that's really dumb, but it works. All right, so you can select different abilities. Do they actually just already take effect? Like if I do this and then I get into a battle? Nope, totally breaks. But I think the reason why it breaks is because I need to code something that I haven't yet. What's failing? Get equipped abilities and character data. All right, character data, get equipped. Go through each active ability. Or go through each equipped ability and add it. That... Oh, right, I never learned it. Oh, right, the button should be disabled. Oh my god. Of course. Okay, so change this, we're done. Disable the checkboxes for abilities that haven't been unlocked. Yeah, so that part I have not done yet. So let's go do that. Skill tree has that whole to do, which I've now fixed, I guess. So it's pressed if it's in equipped. It's disabled if it is not even known by the player. So what do we do? Character data dot get level of ability. Yeah, but now this won't get updated as you level up, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, these are disabled. You can't click them now, but these you can. And if you level up once, this should be enabled, but it doesn't get enabled because I never call this function. So we need to call this function. And maybe this should just be an update skill tree. In fact, yes, that makes total sense because I only ever want to call it when this happens. And my whole IntelliSense thing stopped working. How fun. Where is this function? Here it is. Okay, so we just put this here. All right, does that work? So we can't click this, we level up, now we can click this, we level up again, now we can click this. And so now when I enter a battle, we should have slash rallying cry and wild strike. Do we? Yes, we do. And it works. These are just hard-coded to do 50 damage. Yeah, nice. All right, so you can equip new abilities. Now the next thing, you need to make sure you can't equip them while you're in a battle. So this is done, this is done, this is done. Make sure you can't equip the same skill multiple times. Yeah, this is not possible because we use checkboxes. Make sure you always have 3 abilities equipped. That's correct. And make sure equipping new abilities only affects the next battle. Yeah, so what happens if you try doing this mid-battle, I wonder? I added damage numbers yesterday, yeah. So we're going to get into a battle. We have these abilities. Now I'm going to level up twice, which shouldn't really be possible during a battle. And we're going to equip Rallying Cry instead. So now our third ability is Rallying Cry. If I click this, I think it's going to do 50 damage. No, it's still Crush. So this is already working then, but how is this working? This is very interesting. Equipped abilities. We get, this cannot be correct. Yeah, this cannot be correct. We set up the buttons at the beginning of battle. So that's why the labels don't change. But how did it kill the enemy? Oh, I don't think this is right. Process characters, set ability cooldown. Yeah, did it cool down? No, it's not cooling down. Yes, this is broken. Okay. So why did it even work the first time, I wonder? Who knows? But yeah, I know how we're going to have to fix this. The battle needs to screenshot which abilities you have equipped. So like equipped abilities is going to be an array of, actually it could be active abilities. What did I call this? It should be equipped ability IDs. It's not. I just have to do items saying to rename them. All right, well, let's constant ability IDs. Let's snapshot this when you have your character. So set up ability buttons, we init, we add everyone to battle, yeah. And then where do we have the primary character here? All right, equipped abilities equals primary player. We should just have the character data, right? Yeah, there we go. Dot duplicate. Okay. Snapshot of which abilities were equipped at the beginning of the battle so that you can't change them mid-battle. All right, give me a sec. The space key's driving me nuts. Let's see if that fixes things. It seems like it's fine so far, yeah. All right, so we don't actually snapshot these though. Well, I mean, I did, but I guess we don't actually use the snapshot yet. So everywhere that we have get equipped abilities is just going to be pulled from here now. Yeah. Yeah, and that should be that. Now everything should just work perfectly. Let's try it out. I put almost no thought in actually validating that. Cannot assign a value to variable. What? It's not ability IDs. Variable abilities. Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, we do need to turn these into abilities at some point. In fact, that's the only way this is ever used. Oh, well then this is stupid. So then let's just turn these into proper abilities once, and then we don't need to do this ever again. So these will be active abilities. And then when we snapshot these, we just need to do this. Character data, is it in character data? Get equipped. Yes, it is. And we don't need to duplicate these. And then anytime we call this function now, this just changes to this. Actually, to the point where this is kind of pointless to make a new abilities thing for that, huh? Yeah. Nice. I like it. And are we done now? Whoop, what's this? This is not needed anymore. Yeah. All right, I think we're good. Let's go try it. Abilities not declared in current scope. Whoops. It's not even called abilities. Oh, is this... Something went wrong here. I'm going to restart VS Code. I don't know what's happening. Is VS Code getting desynced somehow with this? Is it not connected to the language server anymore? Is Godot not reading from the file system? Like at this point, we should only have equipped abilities. Yeah, and I should have, yep. Okay, well that's working again at least. And now why is this broken? Group skill tree checkbox not present. That's not even true. It's just Godot that doesn't know that it's there. All right, so it's still thinking that this doesn't exist. This line doesn't even point to, oh, it's not the right file. Okay, that's my fault. And this is also my fault. Okay. Good, blaming the wrong thing. All right, now what's going on here? Visible is not present on inferred type node. So as label. Primary Data declared but never used. Battle characters never used in here. This is only for the player, right? Yeah, let's delete this. Pick random usable abilities also doesn't need this now. This is not the smartest thing I've ever done. Hey, Trons, going back to Sublime? Oh, man. That'd be a blast from the past. I see there being a potential problem here, which is that in the future, I want to be able to get your equipped abilities from just an arbitrary character like I'm doing here. And I won't be able to do that. And so I wonder if like the world map should keep track of when we should update the player's equipped abilities. And that way none of this would have had to change. I'll just make that change in the future, I suppose. Yeah. Yeah. All right, have we fixed all the issues? Get usable abilities. Okay, so what just happened? Why are these off cooldown now? What happened there? I entered a battle. I didn't touch anything. Well, that's messed up. Ooh, that's super messed up. How did I do that? Go through each equipped ability. Pen the names. Ability, active ability equals equipped ability I. Set details, yeah. There you go. Equipped abilities equals this. This part should be fine. Yes. Usable abilities. Ability here. Process characters. Oh, I see. Oh, darn it. All right. Yeah, this came back to bite me very quickly. Okay. So the problem is we used to be getting each individual character's equipped abilities, but this time around we're always using the players. So that means that the enemies are using your attacks, which is not good. And the way I think we would want to fix this is that the skill tree should only be able to update your character after they're done in battle. Yeah, so yeah, all right. Let's back all this stuff out. So here are the two changes we need to make. Change number 1. When the skill tree should store the next set of equipped abilities, and only when outside of a battle should they take effect. And change number 2, we stop snapshotting equipped abilities. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so stopping the snapshotting should just be reverting this entire file, I'm pretty sure. So let's go make sure that's true. Don't need that. Don't need that. Yep, 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 yep. Yep. Okay, yeah, it's all fine. We can just revert this whole file. All right, then we go into skill tree, and instead of ever setting your new equipped abilities, we're going to say something like set next. I don't know what we're going to do for this, actually. Var, what do we say, like deferred equipped abilities? Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. And we're going to say deferred equipped ability IDs. So when changing skills mid-battle, we just set the new skill. I shouldn't say skills. We set the new ability IDs here. so that they can be changed later. Now, does the character know that it's in battle? It doesn't. Hmm. Hmm. What do I associate here? Character data. Yeah. Yeah, but a character data doesn't know that it's in battle. We could tell it that it's in battle, but I think it's kind of stupid. Does overworld character know that it's in battle? Current battle. Yeah, okay, so then we have another change we need to make. Change number 3. So this is done. Change number 3 is going to be have skill tree track an overworld character. So how would we even do this right now? I guess we wouldn't. And this is the last thing we need to do. And this is too big a change to make right now. So then let's check in what I've done and make sure that at least this stuff makes sense. Yeah, like this we're not even using yet. So just get rid of this for now. Actually, just paste this over here. This goes into character data or maybe overworld character. I think it goes over there. So now what changes do we have? Looks good. Skill tree, equipped abilities. Okay, so this tracks which abilities are checked in this UI. It may not be a usable set. It may be empty or overfilled. Or I guess I'll say contain too many elements. Yeah, the rest of this looks good. Yeah, nice. Okay, so allow for equipping abilities. This takes effect during combat, which is buggy. I'm going to fix that next. Whew, well, we are cruising along here. So now for this, have skill tree track an overworld character. So somewhere we have set associated character, and we're going to set this to an overworld character. Okay, so we just delete this. And what? Those shouldn't be newer. Sure, reload them. What do I care at this point? Did that change or what? No, it didn't change. Okay. All right, so yeah, set overworld character. We want this to be overworld character val. Overworld character. And now if you already had an overworld character, oh man, this is gonna be annoying, isn't it? Because everywhere we modify this thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's 19 of these. Well, we could set 2 things. And at least that's the easier way for now. So how about we do that? Yeah. So set this primary character data and then set this a penguin. All right. I think we're good. Now, what was the point of any of this? It was so that the equipped abilities, when I set them right here, that instead what we're going to do is we're going to say set deferred or set equipped abilities. Yeah, like this. And this should be a duplicate. All right, now, now we have to go code this function. Now, was that taken? equipped abilities, which is an array of ability IDs. And we're going to call this abilities, or ability IDs, I guess. So if you're in battle, defer this. Otherwise, set immediately. Character data. Character data doesn't even exist. Primary character data. Set equipped abilities. It's not even a thing. All right. That's step 1. And step 2 is to defer this. So the way we do that is with this code. And oh, whoops. Somehow I got that in the wrong place. Yeah, there. All right, so we want to store these down here. All right, I think we're good. Now, the last thing we need to do is use these when you're out of battle. So these should start as null. I don't even know if that's doable. No, you can't. All right, well, that's fine. We can just set them to an empty array and just check if it's an empty array. So now there should be a battle is over or something. Exit battle, here it is. So if this dot size is greater than 0, then there we go. All right, that's all the code. Let's go try this out. So now you should be able to change your abilities. Overworld character val not defined in scope. Oh, here it is. There. All right, so we get into a fight. The fight should just work normally. So if I pick sweeping arc, for example, did 8 damage to 3 enemies. Yep. Okay, so all the abilities are working. Now I'm going to swap my abilities so that I have Crush, Rallying Cry. Oh, I can't do that because I'm not leveled up. Okay, let's level up twice. So I have Crush, Rallying Cry, and Wild Strike. Okay, now I'm going to click Sweeping Arc, which should be 8 damage to 3 enemies. Good. Click Crush, which should just kill an enemy. Good. I'm going to click Slash, which should do, I don't know what, like 5 damage or something, 10 damage. All right, so that all worked. Now we need to finish this fight. And then the next battle we get into should be totally different abilities. So let's just have it automate the rest of this fight for us. And just sit back. Don't even need to adventure myself anymore. All right, so now the next fight it gets in, which I guess we need to trigger here, has different abilities. Yeah. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, and it's working. Okay, so then we should be able to change abilities again. Let's switch to Slash and Sweeping Arc. So then the next fight will have whatever this is, Slash, Sweeping Arc, and then Wild Strike. Okay, that worked, but you can change the order of the. That's a little weird. But it's not necessarily a problem. It's just weird. Yeah, I'm gonna just leave that as is. I don't care about that. What's this game about? Yeah, the idle command talks a little bit more about it. I can give you a quick rundown right now. And for anyone who hasn't seen this, at least pay attention for this. I'll make this pretty quick. So this is called Idle Ascendance. That's a working title at least. It's very much a prototype. So anything you see that looks like I cut corners, it's because I cut corners. We're just trying to get to the point where we can figure out, is the game fun? So it's supposed to start out being like an old school RPG. You move around a world map. You can get into battles, and the battles are turn-based. So you're picking your ability that you want to use. And I mean, this is pretty straightforward of a game so far. The gimmick of this, the core of the game, is that the very first skill you learn is an automation skill. And the more points you put into this, the higher the chance of it automatically taking a turn in battle. So like there, it took a turn for me. And there it didn't. So I choose this. And then, yeah, it took a turn for me. And so as I fully automate this, now I'm not making choices anymore at all. And so the choices I do end up making that affect battle, so that you can still influence this, is like, where are you putting your skill points? And which skills do you have equipped? and where are you fighting in the world, and then eventually you get more characters, and you know you'll level up and get more powerful. Is it because some are left the same? No, it's because it's the order that I check these boxes in. So if I click right now, picture an array that is slash sweeping arc crush. So that's the way we saw the buttons. So now it's going to be slash sweeping arc crush and rallying cry. And now we ditch slash and then add it back in at the end and then get rid of sweeping arc. So now slash is going to be the third ability button because of how I added it. So like I said, it's not really a bug. It might be confusing for people. Like, I guess if you have your abilities laid out in a line like this, that you might always expect slash, if you have it equipped, is always the leftmost one. And like, we could do that in the future, but it's just not important for right now. Is moving around also automated? It probably will be eventually, yeah. You think abilities should be ordered in the future? Okay, I can write that down. All right, so this part's done. Let's write this down for what, post-prototype tasks? Here. Ability order in battle. The order of ability buttons, I should be very clear here, doesn't always match the order of the abilities in the skill tree. E.g., if you have slash sweeping arc and crush equipped, it doesn't always have them in that order, in that same order, because of how oh, you know what we could do? You know what? Let's just delete this whole thing. Let's just always sort by... No, that was a dumb idea. I don't want to change this right now. Yeah. All right. And now I lost that text. Oh, well, whatever. All right. So the order of... I was going to say, let's just sort by ability ID. But then we need to make sure the skill tree is sorted by ability ID. And that means that then we always need... I'm not going to finish the rest of that. It's not a good idea to do. So let's just write this down for now. Yeah, the order of ability buttons in a battle don't always match the order in the skill tree. E.g., you can have skills A, B, and C equipped and have them show in any order: A, B, C, A, C, B, etc. Okay. There. Why didn't I choose Unity instead of Godot? Just for quick prototyping. I've used Godot more recently. That wouldn't matter as much. Or if the UI for equipping skills changes, like you could picture a UI where we have these ability slots laid out like this, and you're dragging like crush into this one. And so you know it's equipped in the left because you put it there. Or you're dragging crush into this one. And that's probably the best equip UI, is just like see the pool of abilities up here and then see the equipped abilities here and just drag between them. Actually, you can show this off pretty easily because you actually can drag text in VS Code. So yeah, imagine something like this basically. Yeah. And I think that might be the best. The order doesn't matter, by the way, like especially once it's automated, because you're not even gonna be clicking buttons anymore. But it might be nice for you to just see at a glance. I guess it kind of matters from that perspective. How long did it take me to learn all this stuff? It's always hard to say because all this stuff can contain kind of anything, right? Like, I'm not trying to be pedantic here, but technically I need to learn English to even be able to like formulate these thoughts in stream. But to go back, I think there's coding, there's game design, there is Godot itself, there's, you know, whatever other tooling I'm using. And all of these things took time on their own, and then you combine them to form what you see here. So coding I've been doing, I've got a command here that talks about my own like coding journey here. I did go to school. I got a computer science degree. Game design I've been doing like for fun for a while. I never got a formal education in it. Godot I've been using for probably a total of, I want to say like 3 months or something over the last 4 years. And then VS Code I've been using for years and years. This is not online. No, this is completely single player. Yeah. And man, it's so refreshing making a single player game because you just have so much less to consider. Godot quit. Okay, well, whatever, I guess. Yeah, hey Lewis. Yeah, way easier. What happened here? I said reopen, but I don't think it actually reopened. What did happen here? Where's Godot? It was so much for reopen, right? Or maybe it reopened just the game? Gonna have the ability to level up abilities. So you as a player will have that. That won't be automated. Although I had thought about some form of automation for that too. But yeah, you will always be able to select where you want to put your skill points, except for at the very beginning. You have to put in the automation skill at the beginning. And then that unlocks these, and then, you can put in your points here. So we're done with this, but we haven't checked in. So let's go check in. Yeah. Okay, nice. Defer setting abilities in battle. This makes it so that you can't affect, well, the right comment for this. I think it's pretty obvious what it does. Hey, binary block. And hey, Metalstorm. Checked out the game called Loop Hero? Yeah, I liked Loop Hero. I thought that was pretty good. Script, can you imagine if I'd made a Liver King command? Cut you off at the bend. All right. Do you have your corn layout available? Yeah. It is right here. All right, so allow for equipping abilities. We're done with this whole thing, right? Yep, we are. Close issue. All right, so next thing is add more prototype abilities. Consider just having a single ability pool. I'm still torn on this. Okay, so we designed, what am I doing? Let's go pull this up. Yeah, we designed a bunch of classes. Well, a bunch. We designed 3 classes. And I'll pull this up really fast so that people can see what I'm talking about here. So we have the warrior, got 5 abilities, the mage, 5 abilities, and the rogue, we got 5 abilities. And that's 15 abilities. So how many abilities do you need for a class to feel unique? And maybe the answer is 3, I don't know. But then I want you to have a choice of what to equip. And since you can equip 3 at a time, that means that you necessarily need more than 3 for you to have a choice. So we need 4 to 5 abilities per class. And then it's like, how much are we making abilities for this? So what I'm debating on is we have 2 options here. Option number 1 is going to be make 1 giant pool of abilities for the prototype only so that you can still have a choice. But then each class would have the same options. And option number 2 is like code a bunch of abilities. So there are pros and cons to this. The pro of this is it's faster to do because I have to make fewer abilities. So maybe like 8 instead of 10 to 15. The con is that it doesn't represent the final game. Hey, pal. Made work less boring? Well, yeah, welcome back. If you want every ability to feel unique, number of total abilities necessitates being as low as possible, but we don't need every ability on every class to feel different. Yeah, I don't think every ability needs to feel unique. I think the class needs to feel unique. Yeah, what about only 2 classes? So that's another way of doing it. Yeah, what if we only had like warrior and mage? And so that brings us to the third problem that I kind of wanted, I guess. Another problem is that I want you to have multiple characters for the prototype. And in the real game, you can have 1 per class. So if the prototype has 3 classes, then you have a max of 3 characters. And maybe I just lift that restriction, but I don't know. So what if classes are defined by the abilities the user selects? No, classes are defined by the abilities the user can select. So I think I see what you're saying, which is like, what if you became a mage if you equipped Fireball, and you became a warrior if you equipped Slash? But like that, it's just not how I want to do the design for this game, that's all. So I'm still leaning toward this because I feel like you'd get to make slightly different characters and we could just start them with different abilities. So, you know, we have a pool of like Slash should be a warrior ability and Fireball should be a mage ability. And so the warrior starts with this and the mage starts with this, but then there's nothing stopping you from getting a different ability. Like the mage could get Slash. So like I said, I'm torn. I guess we don't even really have to make a decision now, although it will be a decision of which abilities are we making. And if we were to make one entire class's thing, I mean, this isn't hard to code, but this one, I don't really have proper buffs yet. And this is kind of a stupid ability anyway. Self-buff, defense, and attack. Restore HP, last longer. Okay, how would we do this? We'd add in... We'd keep track of buffs. We could just iterate over buffs and collect up all your stat boosts. The problem is going to be that stats aren't actually used yet. But I think that's a problem for later. Yeah, I'm leaning toward option one. Yeah. So we should do all this stuff. Yeah, I vote one. Yeah. Well, so this is really the only con of this. It doesn't represent the final game. So let's say, I guess here's why this is bad. Let's say people are like, yeah, the game was awesome and they had a ton of fun. And I'm like, cool, I should go develop this. And I develop it and people are like, wait a second, what? You're cutting out that thing where I could have just chosen any abilities that I wanted? And I'm like, yeah, that was the whole point of the game. I'm like, well, now the game's not fun anymore. I don't think that's going to be the case though. So I guess we're making an educated guess that if the game fails, it's not going to be due to this decision. Yeah. So let's go carve out what this needs to look like. All right. So we're going to code make abilities until we have a pool of... Okay, so how many should we have? I guess at least 8. Maybe 8 should be the... Maybe 9? That way there could be 3 classes and each has 3 unique abilities that they start with. But then you could just unlock whatever you want after that. I'll say 9 abilities. Let's aim for that. Then make it so that each character starts with a unique set of 3. And then make it so that each character can unlock any of them, although probably at different levels. And then show the level requirement in the skill tree. All right, so do we have anything else here? They're having a single ability pool. Okay, good. Different classes out there. Oh yeah, that too. And then make the class defining abilities still. All right, this is a big problem though. So look at how I made this character. The rogue, it says fast and weak, lots of status effects. And then its class defining ability was this, which is any direct damage could be applied a second time. And so all of your abilities were built around that. But now imagine if you get some super high damage ability and it just has a chance to do double that damage. Like that'd be super overpowered. And I don't really care about balance too much for the prototype. We could just cap how much damage this can do. And we could change what your passive is. Maybe it's something different. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. Show level requirement of the skill tree. Make the class defining abilities still. May need to rethink rogue. What did I have written here? Untouched. Every turn you take without taking damage adds 1 more to quick strikes damage. That's kind of cool. That had to persist over battles. Yeah, may need to think through rogue's ability. All right, good. Different classes start with different 3. For the new abilities to add, just pick ones that are distinct enough. Yep. And I do want there to be a summon ability, even though that doesn't really make any sense for the classes that I have. Try not to design too many buffs or debuffs. I don't want a full buff system unless it's important. All right. So how many do we have right now? We have Slash has been done, like completely done. Sweeping Arc, I think, is different enough. We can do that. Crush, I think, is pretty good. Then I didn't really code these other ones. So we have 3 right now. So we need 6 more. So what are the 6 abilities that I add? I think there should be a summon. Because that system shouldn't be too hard to do. Summon ability. What else do we have as the abilities that I wanted here? Shoots 1 lightning bolt at X enemies. Okay, yeah, lightning zaps, I guess. Lightning zaps. I'll just say summon slime. It doesn't really matter what you're summoning. What else? Boulder, air effect, direct damage. Does this affect everybody? I think it does. Yeah, I think Boulder is a good one to add. So lightning zaps can target the same target multiple times, but it could target different enemies. Boulder always targets all of them. So I'm just trying to come up with like, what are some unique enough ways through this? So we need 3 more. Quick strike, weak, direct physical damage, single target, no cooldown, decreases time until next turn by X%. Sure, I guess. I like the idea of traps. I don't know how exactly it's going to work. And then what else do we have? Poison dagger. Poison the target. Poison deals Y earth damage every time the enemy takes a turn. X% chance to spread. Two is already poisoned. They take damage though it's their turn. Since the enemy can't do anything. I like that idea. Although what happens when you poison something multiple times? I don't know. Okay, let's write these out. I mean, how many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's 6. Okay, so let's code those. And you might think I'm going to be doing this now, but I'm actually going to probably take a break pretty soon and then transition into getting ready for the interview. So this will happen in the afternoon today. In fact, maybe we can even code most of these. Oh, there's one other problem though. How many mods do we add for these abilities? Maybe just as many as I feel like coding. I don't think you need too many there. Maybe at least 2 for all of these. Okay, so here's what we have. We're going to say to code these abilities. Space. All right, so add summon slime, lightning zaps, boulder, quick strike, traps, poison dagger. Okay, then that stuff's all fine. And then what was the last thing I just said? Oh yeah, add mods for these abilities. All right, add a minimum of 2 mods for each ability. Hey, Ozzy man, this is awesome. Never seen someone stream Godot game dev. Yeah, I'm glad you're liking it. I am going to pause this for a bit though. So here's the plan. It is currently 10:40 at 11 a.m. I have the interview with Steve. And so I got to take a break and I got to do some prep. It won't take 20 minutes. And then after that, it's going to be a lunch break. But there's something new and important to share, which is that I'm doing my first ever YouTube premiere. So in just under 2 hours, that video I just linked into both chats will be live. And it's what I recorded yesterday. This is not relevant to the stream at all. It's about Cloudflare Tunnel, which if you care about, then I guess go watch the video. And if you don't care about, then fine. And then after that, we'll do another probably like 3 hours of coding abilities and stuff. I say the end stuff because it's all the things you just saw here. Make it so each one can start with a set of these. The game is not open source. No, not this one. So this is a game I plan on monetizing. If you check out the idle command, I'll type that in the chat. So that links to this document, which is the design of the game. So this is visible, but I do plan on selling it at some point on itch and on Steam. It'll probably cost like, I don't know, $5-ish, $7, something like that. But the plan for right now is exactly what you see here. So we spent time designing the game. Now we're prototyping the game. And then hopefully by the end of next week, we can release the prototype and people can play it and tell me if they find it fun. And if not, what I can do to improve it. And yeah, then we gotta really kind of go into overdrive there. The ideal scenario is that the prototype, the ideal scenario is that the prototype is just outright fun. Everything's fun. Every decision I made was great. And that the things I have to do between the prototype and the release is to just kind of polish everything and make the code better. Thank you, Ozyman. Yeah. Yeah, the last game I made in Godot is public though. Jump Royale. And that's what people are about to play right now because I'm going to go take a break. Although you have to play from Twitch chat, just FYI. So here's a link to Twitch chat. All right, I will be right back. Is it jump time? Did it get my speech that time? No, it didn't. Is it jump time? It's jump time. right. Hey again, everybody. We have fun. Let's look at the stats. Hey, Uber came in top 3 for the first time. Congrats. And so did Professor. Nice. All right, close of the game. So we are going to start prepping for the interview, I guess. It's a little too early for that, actually. Is there anything else I haven't shared? Oh yeah, I'm curious, what's the YouTube quota at? Now that I've been polling every 5 seconds. We're at 13%, so 8,000. All right, so we almost certainly won't have any issue then, right? Because I've been streaming for 2 hours. So let's say I stream for triple this time. That would be at 39%. Yeah, nice. Okay, we could even get a little bit more if we wanted to. Ooh, all right, looking good then. Let's fill out the journal. Whoops. Interview. More coding, idle ascendance, interviewed Steve Willard. What was that GCP for? That was for my YouTube quota. So I have the bot that I coded for Twitch is also working on YouTube and it's responding to people. But YouTube only allows you to pull for chat messages. You can't get a WebSocket to let you know when there are chat messages. So you also have a quota on how often you can pull or how much you can pull per day. So I was hitting 100% quota, and that was with my bot responding after 15 seconds potentially, which is really bad UX. So I submitted a quota increase request and they accepted it, which means that now instead of having 10,000 quota, I have 60,000 quota. And so I lowered the polling time for 15 seconds to 5 seconds, and it's still bad UX, but it's not as bad as 15. That's really, really bad. Let me write this down here too for post prototype. I guess this should just go into ideas. Yeah. So this is like a real world idea based on the prototype. Things to do after the prototype is done. Question after prototyping if moving forward. Yeah, here. Consider doing tutorials on YouTube, maybe of a system that I'm proud of. This should help market the game. And then, yeah, consider using, what is it, post-prototype changes? Probably want to clean up the code with more of an entity component system. All right, yeah. All right, so do I have an interview prep thing? I think I just had the mentoring prep. And I never made a section for interviews on here? Nope. Well, for those who haven't seen, because I don't think it's going to take 10 minutes to set up. So on my YouTube channel, I've only done one interview so far, and it was with Amanda. She is a content creator herself, and she works at Microsoft. And we're going to be doing one today with Steve Willard. Steve is a software engineer lead at Tetra Science. And all right, well, I guess let's just get set up. If I'm going to be chatting, I may as well be set up and chatting rather than not set up and chatting. I made a scene for interviews, right? Interview. Whoa. Look, it's me. Oh boy. In fact, I'm not even sure any of this is all that important. I don't show chat on screen for this. I guess let's just make an interview section. Mentoring setup. Interview setup. I guess it just switch to interview scene. Change stream title. Keep Discord on left and video pop out on right. change stream titles, change today command. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. So edit today. Adam is interviewing Steve Willard. Steve is a lead software engineer at Tetra Science. Here's his LinkedIn. Oh yeah, I should probably say Adam will try to read chat toward the end of the interview to see if you have any questions for Steve. So feel free to ask. Yep. All right, stream title. Steve Willard, a lead software engineer at Tetra Science. You know, when people hear interview, they sometimes think I'm doing some like mock interview, but it's really just chatting. But if it were just chatting and it were very one-sided, I think people would be like, wow, this person's kind of selfish or a jerk or something. So I want to somehow communicate that it is an interview and it's not a technical interview. And maybe if I just do this enough, people will just get that in their heads. And I don't need to do very much. I don't know. All right, let's change this and delete the Godot tags. And then we'll also do this over here. Yeah, fireside chat. Technical interview. Whoa, shut up. Stop talking, Adam. Oh yeah, let's capture the old title in case I want to use this again. All right, save. What are my questions going to be? You will find out soon. I spent yesterday preparing them, very carefully crafting the most interesting and pertinent questions. All right, so I think we're set up for pretty much everything. Yeah, I need to load up my own interview doc off screen. Can't look at this. Don't look at this. Don't look, chat. Yeah, nothing's private in this. Actually, so I ask everybody before we do interviews, what's off limits? What don't you want to talk about? And Steve pretty much said that nothing was off limits. So there's nothing to hide here. But like at the top of the document, if I was like off limits, like, you know, Steve has 7 fingers on one hand or something like that. And then I accidentally show that, that would be really bad, right? Steve does not have 7 fingers on one hand. All right, cool. I wonder if Steve is ready. Let me see. Hey, are you ready to start a bit early? Still need to do a tiny bit of setup, but it should be ready very soon. Okay, there we go. Well, saying what's off limits is revealing, right? Right, that's what I'm saying. You shouldn't know what's off limits, but I need to know what's off limits so that I don't ask him about it. And in order for me to know what's off limits, I need to write it down somewhere. And I'm just saying that if I were to show that on stream, that'd be really, really bad. So I need to know not to say anything about that stuff. Okay. I don't think Steve is actually ready yet. And then once Steve is in the call, please do let me know if the audio is misbalanced or something like that. I think last time Amanda was a little louder than I was, and I should have just toned that down. Yeah. Yeah. So mostly just waiting at this point, I think. Is there anything else I want to do for this? What am I even looking at? No, I think it's pretty much it. Interviews are so much less setup than mentoring. Yeah. Yeah. Because with mentoring, I need like 4 different things visible on screen at once. I need to make sure the chat is still showing up. I'm gonna ask how many fingers he has. Last time I saw Steve, it was 10 fingers and 6 thumbs. So, you know, normal amount of digits. Just a casual 26. Yeah. Okay, well, then I guess I'll talk about this really fast. I don't post my videos anywhere else other than like YouTube, and I've been trying to post on LinkedIn, which I have almost no following there. But if you ever watch a video that you like on my YouTube channel and you're like, the world needs to know about this, awesome, that's great. I need all the help I can get. Post it wherever, Twitter, Reddit, I don't care. Say this video is stupid and post it somewhere, that's also fine. Doesn't matter. I just don't end up doing this stuff myself, and I definitely need help with that. So I am gonna try to get other people to, like, you know, use whatever you think is appropriate. Is asking him to work on my project off limits? No. That's a very reasonable first question to ask somebody. In fact, if you ever join a stream and you're like, wow, this person's a developer, ask them to work on your project. 8 fingers on one hand, 0 on the other. Actually, I guess if you get a prosthetic arm, you could have as many fingers as you want, right? And it kind of makes you wonder, what is the optimal number of fingers to have? Is it 5? Maybe we'll have like 40 fingers in the future. It's 8. I mean, if you could control all of your fingers with the same dexterity you can currently control your normal set of fingers with, then having more could be interesting, right? Think of what kind of instruments you could make. But if you don't have that dexterity, or if it's just too much to think about, it's like, let's say you have the dexterity to control, well, like right now, think about it. You can control all your limbs and everything. But if you were to try to do those whole like one-man marching band things where you've got a snare drum on your back and you've got a harmonica against your mouth and I don't know what other instruments they play, an accordion. Like most people can't control all that, even though there's no muscle problem with it. Asked you to maintain an 8-year-old library you hacked together. And then did I end up using it? I don't remember. Change the pinky finger to the middle finger. I mean, you could kind of do that just by having more fingers. Okay, so I'm assuming Steve is probably going to be ready. He still hasn't responded to me. So I'm gonna switch over to the interview thing and we'll just see what happens. Should I move this camera a little bit? Oh, I see a response. Ready. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I want to see what the audio levels are at. So I'm gonna call him up. We're gonna get the scene set up, and then oh wait, what happened to my interview doc? There it is. Okay, yeah, we're gonna get the scene set up, and then I'm gonna kick this off. All right, so video call. And then we pop this out and put that over there. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, hold on. It's a little laggy, but I can hear you okay.
A little laggy. Okay, cool. And chat, can you hear Steve okay? So Steve, why don't you tell me, describe something, your favorite thing about your background right now.
Oh, my calendar is incorrect, and I typically have like a blurred background, so it's a little embarrassing that it's even showing, or
Oh,
if it is showing.
do you want me to like cross out everything around your face so that it's not showing?
No, that's okay.
Okay, so wait, one sec. Slightly loud on his end. Okay, I'll turn it down on my side of things then. Let's do this. Okay. All right, so as this goes on, chat, please do let me know if it's too loud, and I'll try to pay attention for at least a second to chat, but I want to mostly pay attention to Steve. So, Steve, we have known each other for a very long time. I want to start off with hard-hitting questions. Have you ever written code with a bug in it?
Yes,
Well,
very
okay.
often.
Very often. Oh no. Okay, no. So some serious questions. I actually do want to start with something that's probably a little bit heavier than most interviews might start. You mentioned some topics that you wanted to talk about in this interview potentially. And then I was looking through your LinkedIn and I found out that you currently have 2 jobs. And one of the topics you wanted to talk about was burnout. Are those things related?
Yeah, I would say currently they're related, and I am struggling a little bit just in terms of like work-life balance and trying to manage time in general. So, yeah, I would definitely like to go into that, and we can talk more about that in general.
Yeah. So how did that come about? Because, unless you got both at exactly the same time, which it didn't look like it, then you made a decision to get a second one, right?
Yeah, yeah. So, the short of it is, I used to work for this AI consulting company called Manifold. It's like a Boston-based company, and we work with different clients to basically build software for you. And one of the clients was this very small healthcare startup called Braver. These two Rhode Island doctors, they wanted to spin off and kind of like expand their treatment and offer it eventually nationwide. So they broke out of their hospital and they're like, let's build a startup to like have this tech-enabled healthcare company, and let's hire this like fancy boutique AI consulting company to make it happen. We hit it off, so I was kind of the lead on that project, and I got along really well with the doctors there and kind of joined forces with the team. I'm in the Boston area, so I was able to kind of like drive down there and kind of be more embedded with them and build them some cool solutions to automate their workflows, essentially.
Hmm.
Um, Anyways, I decided to leave Manifold, and I'm like, hey, I want to keep this thing going. I like working with you. Let's try to figure out like a basically an hourly rate that would make sense, where I can try to maintain some sanity and make this worthwhile for both of us. I had never done really any contract work at all, uh, but we were able to come to an agreement on like an hourly rate and like roughly how many hours per week. And that's all going well. It's more of just like I'm having a hard time like juggling that with my full-time job and family stuff all at the same time.
Yeah. So how many hours does it end up being on average?
Somewhere in the realm of like 20 to 30 per month.
Oh, per month. Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, not per week.
Okay. Yeah. So if we were to just divide there, it's something like 5 to 7 per week.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Okay. And how do you balance that throughout the week? I am curious because, if it's 5 hours on one day, that's very different from 2.5 hours on 2 days, for example.
Yeah, so originally I was planning on having like dedicated like half days, but that just scheduling it didn't work out, and I have to have meetings at certain times of the day with them. So basically just sprinkling of hours at night and also during the week, during like the work week. So it's a little bit all over the place, and then on the weekend, like afternoons, I'll spend an hour or two like kind of making something happen there.
I see. So would you describe yourself as a workaholic?
Yeah, I would say so. And I think uh, I don't know. This might be like going too far back in my past, but at one point I did kind of have my own startup, and I think at that point it really shifted me into being more of a workaholic and thinking about work a lot.
Hmm.
I really enjoy work and tech and building things, and I it is kind of consuming, but I just kind of like let it consume me. Like I'm uh like strap me to the mast and I'll have the sirens just I want to hear the sound. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to like bathe in the chaos of all of it.
Well, and so, I have so many questions about this. For one, how long have you been bathing in this chaos, strapped to the mast?
Um well, I think the chaos has really been probably the last year, just kind of balancing everything. But I've always tried to have like side projects outside of work, and I don't know. For me, it's a good way to like kind of stay on top of tech and see what's out there to kind of build small prototypes or try new libraries or new patterns. So I've always just like been a tinker person and built things outside of work too.
So, yeah, but you mentioned this startup from a while ago. First of all, about how many years ago was that sort of put you into workaholism?
Um, oh geez, when was that? I think 2016, something around that time.
Okay. And
Yep.
to be clear here,
Yeah.
we're talking about Curio, right?
Yeah, Curio. Yeah.
Okay. And so I eventually would like to dive into that if we have some time, but staying at least on the topic of, burnout and balancing things. So back in 2016, you've sort of always had something going on. And even prior to that, I know you've had things going on. You've been very busy. You've mentioned that as of the last year or so, it's been harder. It's been more figuring out that balance. Do you think that there's something on the horizon that's going to naturally resolve this? Or do you think it's going to take a concerted effort to carve out time or to lower the amount of stuff that you're doing?
That's a really good question. I I don't know if this is the right answer to it, but I don't think it's going to get any easier. So I have a family. I've kind of a busy personal life, and I could definitely jettison my work with Braver and kind of simplify all that. I just think I do get fulfilled from working with them, and also a monetary incentive to do it. But I think it really boils down to just being better with time management. And I think we can talk more about this, but I think a few things that have really helped me is like uh, setting a timer. Like if I just set a timer for 15 minutes and only focus on one thing, I find that I can really achieve a lot in that small amount of time. Like I
Mhm.
tend to kind of bounce around all over the place, distract myself, but if I can just really, I don't know, sometimes it's easy to psych yourself out and be like, oh, I'll put that on the list and do it later. That to me often leads to a lot of anxiety where it's like, oh, I'll just email that person later. But the reality is, it would only take me 2 minutes to write that email now, and either I need to just do it or carve out time to like dedicate myself and just like knock it off a checklist. So yeah.
So do you use any sort of official Pomodoro system, something like that?
I I abuse Harvest, which is it's like a time tracking tool that I use for Braver, but I use it for other like time tracking tasks.
Okay, and so you find that doing things in these 15-minute intervals works for you. You're able to get things done, and you think that if you only got better at time management, that that's the only way this is going to get resolved. Um, this is an interview, not mentoring, so I can say that doesn't sound likely to me. Is it
Yeah, that's
likely?
fair.
Is there just like a peak time management tracking state that you're in where you feel like you're above water with all of this?
I'm optimistic, so I hope so.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. But I definitely realize that it could be wishful thinking. So I'm not above trying to simplify and reduce things. I feel like I could make it work, and
Okay.
I for the most part I am making it work.
Well, that's definitely good. I wish you luck. Since you have said that nothing's off limits, and since we're talking about burnout, we have to get to the other side of this, which is the family side. Have you heard, not official feedback, but have you heard whispers from your family or things like, "Hey, I wish, dad or my husband was around more often"? Is there that sort of thing going on?
Yeah, I think as you have like kids, well, this might be going down too far into the relationship rabbit hole, but it's you need to make time like in the same way you set timers to like focus on something. You need to kind of, it sounds like kind of crude, but do the same thing with your spouse. And it could be like something obvious like having a date night or going for a walk together, but you need to make a concerted effort to again, it sounds crude, but like put that in your calendar and like make it something that's part of your schedule and not something that's like, oh, it's just going to happen. Well, like everyone's busy, things are happening all the time. You just need to prioritize it. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, I agree. I think it's important to have those priorities. And I think family should be above work for most of the time. Sometimes it out prioritizes or gets out prioritized by work. And that's fine as long as it's a short amount of time, right? So, uh, how does your own burnout manifest itself? You said there's been a lot of chaos. You want to get better at time management. What is happening as a result of not being in that ideal state yet?
Um, it definitely leaves me like preoccupied and like kind of dwelling on problems. And I tend to fall into that state when I procrastinate and or there's like inaction.
Hmm.
and really it can kind of like bubble over when I just keep putting off little things. Like I don't send an email, if I don't write that unit test or whatever. Like um, I think that's been more of a problem lately where I just I'm not I'm letting those things like pile up too much. Where I if I just like kind of focus and have more of those even 10-minute interval, 10, 15-minute interval, just like really focus on myself and focus on problems to knock off that list. Um, it just makes a big difference. Like otherwise, it's like I'm thinking about it, like oh, I need to send an email. Like well, why am I thinking about it? I should just do it. But it takes me out of being present, with my family, and that's just not fun for anyone really.
Yeah. Do you find, maybe this is a leap, but do you find that you have a hard time going to sleep at night because you're thinking about too many things?
No, I sleep pretty well.
Okay.
It's not that, but it does like the other day I was playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, not the Rebirth, but the older one, because I haven't played it yet. And I for the first like I don't know 10 minutes of me playing the game, I was like barely paying attention to the game. I was like thinking about work and other stuff, and that was like it's just not fun at all. Like, why would you play a game and not like enjoy it? But as I just like kept playing it, and then I totally forgot about work, and it was awesome. It was great. I was just like in the moment, like having fun. So that that's like stunk. Like I shouldn't have that like lead time of like not enjoying this thing.
Ideally, no, but I think it's hard for anybody to transition between activities like that. And I myself have found I've been on vacations in the past where I haven't been able to enjoy the vacation. I've just had this gray cloud of stress hanging over me for most of it, and it has marred experiences. And I myself want to get better at that too. And I think I wonder how much is time management versus how much anxiety I build up around these tasks. So I have a question as a result of all of this. Have you read The 4 Hour Work Week?
No, I actually have not read
Okay.
it.
Well, one of the things that they recommend, it's more of a philosophy book than an actual let's get down to 4 hours of work per week. And one of the things that they recommended was getting an executive assistant. So hiring someone to do these small tasks, maybe not sending professional emails, but maybe something like, hey, I need to pick up flowers on my way home, or I need to have, do you think you would benefit from that? This is all hypothetical, not will you go get one, but what if you had an executive assistant?
Um, that's a good question. I think to some degree, but I would probably also need to work on like delegation in general. At a lot of startups that I've been at, I've been kind of a lone wolf, or on small teams and had to wear a lot of hats. So I tend to like want to control a lot of aspects of what I'm working on. Um, and in certain cases, that means it can be hard for me to delegate. So I don't know. Like an assistant sounds lovely, but that might have other challenges too.
Yeah, yeah. I find that's typically there for a lot of people. The needing to relinquish some control to have somebody else get something done, and then I guess being okay with the results or being able to delegate something else. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
a tough cycle to get out of this. So, follow up question on all the burnout stuff. Have you heard of the term overemployed?
Yeah, I
Okay.
have.
So, what do you think about that term? What does it mean to you?
Well, I have heard it, but why don't you explain
Okay.
your definition
So
of it?
I think it's got a negative connotation generally. I think it's typically used to be ripping off a system. So, for example, people get two different full time jobs and they're essentially putting in half the amount of work at each job so they can get full time salaries. And then by the time they're caught, well, they've already reaped enough reward from the system. Um, anyway, there's like a whole subreddit devoted to this. It's hard to tell, are people just making this up and they have, four jobs, or are they really working that much, or what are their goals with it all? Uh, if you can get your time management system to work, how long do you think you'll continue with a full time and a part time job?
Uh, well, my original plan was 18 months,
Hmm.
and I'm like approaching a year of uh, doing like this dual job thing. So I I think that's definitely like a turning point for me because at that point, like Braver is getting bigger and having more demands, and I think they're going to be raising some money, so like they'll have other challenges that I just won't have time to help with. So my plan is still kind of 18 months and then transition more into an advisor. And hopefully they can hire like a technical team to carry out what I've started over there. And that's the dream, anyways.
Okay. So you're kind of mentioning that this is a smallish team. I think on a small enough team, let me say this the opposite way. I think on a big team, you can run into a problem where there isn't this part-time awareness. And so you have everybody, just the standard, the template is 40 hours per week. And so now you're there working, 5 to 7 hours per week, and they don't know how to assign tasks. They think you're slacking. Is there any of that happening right now at Braver? Or are they all pretty much in the loop about your involvement?
Um, no, I think things are too chaotic, and they're mainly focused on like providing good care to their patients, and like like to be blunt, like they're doctors, not really entrepreneurs
Yeah.
or they're first time startup, people. So they're all trying to figure this out for the first time, and uh, so I don't know. I feel like the hours I put in are impactful, but I don't feel like they're waiting for me or expecting more of me. So I think there's a good relationship there.
Yeah. I think that's good. I think really the ideal situation is regardless of how many hours you're working, nobody's judging you for it and no one's expecting more than
Yeah.
what you can do in that time. You do your job for that time. And so you said this is your first time doing that kind of contract work. What were the new areas to explore? What were some unexpected hurdles with that? Because you've been there for about a year, you said.
Yeah. So to provide a little more context, so I worked with this other guy, Brennan, at Manifold, and we worked together on Braver. And I kind of convinced him to both join Tether Science with me and join Braver part time. So that's making this whole situation a lot more palatable because I feel like I can vent about a lot of this, and like I have someone in the exact same situation as me, and I have like kind of backup. So if I'm not available, he is on both fronts. So I'm extremely thankful that he is in the picture, and he's a great friend, and yeah, he just that really also like really worked out for me, and I think for both of us. So there's that, and I guess the first thing we want to do is like, okay, we're like taking money from this other company. I guess it makes sense to like be legit and not like take dollar bills under the table. So we decided to form an LLC. He's in Denver, and we with like some minimal research, we found it was like more. It was just better to incorporate there as
Mhm.
opposed to here in the Boston area. And yeah, so we went to like LegalZoom, like spun up an LLC, got an EIN, built a company basically. And then on top of that, we got some advice to basically get some basic insurance. So like I think there's two different kinds of insurance that our company has, mainly around if we made a really bad technical error and caused like damage to the company,
Mhm.
we get protected from it. Or if we get hacked, same kind of deal, like a cybersecurity insurance that we have. So just navigating like business stuff, it was all kind of new to us, and yeah,
So you're part of 3 companies.
yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah.
Have you ever considered, based on getting Brennan to work at 2 different jobs with you, of being a professional convincer? People call you in and they just need something done, and you just somehow convince people. You get them to do the thing they need.
That's a great idea. No, I have not considered that.
Okay.
Uh,
Well,
yeah.
anyway, those sorts
But
of. Oh, sorry.
oh no, I was just gonna make a joke that there's currently someone I'm doing a land survey, and I was like, how can I convince him to move the stake like 3 feet this way so I get a little more land? And funny you should say that.
Did it work, or has it not happened yet?
I'm thinking about it right now. I'm like staring out the window. So yeah.
Okay, well, look, if you manage to get that
Try.
extra 3 feet of land, then take my advice, become a professional convincer. I think
All
that's
right.
a sign.
Done.
um, navigating starting a business, navigating actually having it, going to market, everything. These are things I think you've done some of this stuff before, and I think to varying levels of success with this. And I think a lot of people have this misconception that I'm going to start a business and work on the thing that the business is supposed to do. So if I'm a developer, I'll just do 100% development, and it never really ends up being that. And it's just like what you mentioned, you need to find the right people. Um, I want to ask you more about this because you would consider Brennan a co-founder, right?
Yeah, it would.
Yeah. So you've done a couple businesses in the past. What makes for a good co-founder? How do you find them? This is something that's so difficult for I think a lot of people to do because they have a product idea and they just think, where do I go from here? So yeah, how do you find a co-founder? What do you look for?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think there's a lot there to unpack. The first thing that really comes to mind, and it's like awfully cliche in the startup scene, is grit. Like, there's just going to be lots of challenges that you run into, things you don't want to do, and you just have to like push past them and do work that is unpleasant or like hard. It's like silly as that sounds, but I think like just to give an example, like originally when I started Curio, I didn't want to like go and have meetings and talk to advisors or get like feedback, but you just kind of have to do it anyways and like get over anxiety or fear that you might have. This is kind of like getting away from the question a little bit, but I find this actually more in general with user experience and building software is like there's been a lot of times when I tried to work on something in isolation. I'm like, oh, I just want to make it perfect. Like I want to think about all these edge cases and then I'll put it out into the world. But almost every time, maybe every time I don't do that and I give someone like a half finished material ball. I got Final Fantasy in the mind. And I can see someone's like real reaction to it, and it sparks like um, I don't know, like just a new idea or something. Like just actually getting someone's reaction to what you've built and like using that to iterate. It just makes all the difference. For me, it lifts away so much anxiety around like, am I building the right thing? Are people going to want to use this? So I don't know. Like we can talk more about that, but like that kind of made me think about just being a founder and like kind of getting over those fears that you might have, like talking to customers or like sending the email you don't really want to send. I I look at this as a little bit of a mistake on my end, where for Curio it was two technical like co-founders together that we had, and I really wish that one of us had more like business sense, like or like knew to build a business plan or to kind of had more experience building a company. I think we were so focused on just building a technical thing that we weren't thinking about who's going to buy it, like how much are we going to charge, what does the market look like, are we displacing competitors, are we trying to carve out a new market? So yeah, a lot there to consider.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack, even kind of on my end here. So let me go back because I wrote a couple notes. Uh, there was the last part you mentioned about Curio. Oh, the business sense. Oh yeah. So Bill Gates. Do you know anything about Bill Gates's like life or journey building Windows and that sort of thing?
Bits and pieces. I'm
Okay.
not well versed in Bill Gates though.
I'm also not well versed, but from what I understand, he ended up becoming a jack of all trades, and he's very smart, so he became a good jack of all trades. Learned how to write his own contracts, learned how to seek out business, and yet he had Steve Ballmer there for some amount of time, and he handled the business side. You yourself have said it takes grit. You must have learned a lot about business since then, doing Curio, now having this LLC. Do you feel like those are passable skills? Do you feel like you want to develop those more? Do you think you'll have more success if you were to do another startup in the future?
Um, I think probably yes to all of the above. Like I want to keep working on it, and it's kind of like I've almost exclusively worked at startups. I really like being on small teams and being close to the customer, and just being part of something new or novel is exciting. And I think like uh, every time I do it and like meet new people and new experiences, I feel like I'm getting just better at like figuring out what to build and to have a better sense for like how to be closer to the customer because that really makes a huge difference. Like again, just going back to like getting customer feedback early and often, being connected, and like actually solving someone's problem as opposed to like thinking you know what their problem is. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and this represents a shift in software development life cycles. I remember learning way back in school about, the waterfall model or whatever, where anyway, it's how you build the software and how you release. And product cycles have been shrinking and shrinking to the point where I don't even know what Firefox's version is up to right now, but it's very large, right? It's the kind of thing where like they've had so many releases, we have continuous integration and delivery. What you said, I think, is really impactful because to me, it plays into what is an MVP, what is a minimum viable product. And the way that you know that is partially coming up with it and then partially seeing how it's playing out. How does your customer feel about it? And so I like that. I think there's a lot to learn even from my side of this. You've seen me now making this game and I'm trying to build it as fast as possible and see like, is it fun? And it's sort of hard to communicate that to people. Um, I want to jump back now to grit. How do you find someone with grit? So you mentioned that that's a desirable quality, but how do you find that co-finder?
Um, we should build an app that's like gritfinder.com and you can be matched with other people.
Grit finder by
Um,
person convincer Steve Willard.
oh man, that's a really good question. Um, I don't know really the answer to it, but just thinking out loud, there's definitely been a select few people that I've worked with, and you can kind of just tell like they're just so driven. They they just want to move the needle. Maybe they work quickly, like in a positive way. I don't know. There's something about a certain set of individual that just like it's like wow, I really want them as my team lead, or like I trust them, or like I can really depend on that person. And I find those personalities, they tend to be just like people that can overcome pretty much anything. Uh, so I don't know. That's not really an answer. I'm just like
No, I
I'm
think
just
that
thinking aloud.
I think that's good. I think this, this sort of reminds me of finding a significant other or going dating or something. You identify the qualities of the person you want to be with, and then it's a matter of I'm not saying this in a joking way. It's a matter of convincing them of why they should work with you or why they should be with you or something like that. So, do you think there's a whole set of people out there who have grit, and if gritfinder.com existed, they'd want to be paired with other people to work on businesses? Or do you think they're generally just doing their own thing to begin with? Like, how many times can you align with someone's opportunity here and they're not just, doing their own startup? Like, you found Brennan, but what if you'd found him 3 months later and asked, would it have still gone that way?
Yeah, I don't know. I remember I think at Curio I joined like a gritfinder.com thing. Like there are apps that try to do this where they try to match potential founders together. And it was not pleasant. Like I just didn't get any like I felt like I was dating. I didn't get any responses.
Yeah.
Like there was no real excitement from any of it. And I feel like you don't it's hard to know someone that you're not friends with or you haven't worked with before. I think that's a large part about it. So I don't know, like it maybe that really is the best way. You have to meet people like through working together or to overcome some challenge together. I don't know if you can like just really smash two like random co-founders together. Yeah.
Okay, well, this is perhaps a leading question, but do you think something like a code jam helps with that? A hackathon? You do a project at your work or you participate in whatever, a game jam or something for fun. Do you think that would help you find someone like that?
Yeah, I think so. There's been it almost feels like just open source in general has that same effect. Like you meet other passionate people online, whether it's a code jam thing or just an open source project. I feel like that's how friendships are formed, and you can find people with a like interest and that are equally um, or match like the level of commitment that you're looking for. So yeah, I think that is a good way.
Okay, yeah. Well, I wanted to go back to a couple other things that I had, at least on the topic of burnout. And we can kind of, wrap this up unless you have any other thoughts. For one, I was looking through Tetra Science's website and I saw that one of the perks that they offer is unlimited PTO. What are your thoughts on that as a perk?
Um, it's my thoughts on it have changed over the years. So being in many startups, that is almost always like the main perk, or like I don't know, that's like what everyone says. I think on paper it actually cuts down on a lot of paperwork, and there's like benefits for doing it for the company more so than anything. And I think most people that have unlimited PTO, they take less time off than like a set number of weeks or days, for example. I think it's easy to like just keep working. Like I know I'm a bit of a workaholic, but I think that's true for a lot of people that I work with. It's hard to kind of be like, well, I have, a limited time, so I'll just take a Monday here or there, but it ends up being like not that much time off. Whereas if you had like 4 weeks for the year, like you have to slot them in. If you don't use it, you lose it typically. So I don't know. I appreciate like a little bit of time, but I feel like maybe it's just me personally. I have to put in more effort to like use more of that time, I guess. And I don't know. Maybe do you have the same? Do you have unlimited PTO?
So I guess I technically could take however much I want. And I need to think of what I'm going to do because I feel like I want to take a day here or there because in a lot of companies, your work is still your work when you get back. And that's certainly true when you're the only person working for a company. So, there's no one else to delegate your work to. So there's some amount of time I want to take, but then there's some amount of time that my wife wants me to take too. We go on a trip together or something like that. And so it's a matter of just balancing that. I think I steer more toward the wanting like 6 weeks per year kind of thing. So do you know how much you in practice end up taking when you have unlimited PTO?
It's like four on the low end, but more typically five.
Okay. I think 4 to 5 weeks is honestly probably like the minimum that people in software should be taking. And in other countries, it's almost required that you take that time off because they actually care about the mental health of their workers.
Yeah.
um, the last thing I had on this topic, I was looking through your LinkedIn again, and I saw, I think, a total of 10 companies and a tenure of no longer than 39 months. And I wanted to ask, is that related to burnout at all? And this is not a judgmental question. I just, it's a neutral question completely.
No, it's I don't know. I think some people look at job hopping as a negative. I've done a fair amount of it, but I don't see it as a negative. Like for me, it's a way to work with more people and to kind of like broaden your skill set. And I think like I don't know. I, I don't find myself necessarily getting burned out by companies, but it actually kind of goes back a little bit to the co-foundingness question. I feel like there's been several times in my past where I feel like I'm putting in a lot of effort and I I'm not getting the same kind of return from the company that I'm hoping for. And the kind of return that I actually want is like company growth. Like I
Yeah.
want like I don't know, to put it like in a more grand way, like I want to be on a rocket ship. I want like excitement, I want like more customers, like I want money raining down from the sky. Like I just want there to be like more drama. And I think there's been a handful of times where things I felt like move too slowly, or it's like, I want more. I want to put in more so I can get more back. Um, Thankfully, I feel like I'm there now, and it's like really up to me to move the needle in a lot of these ways, and I feel like I'm getting that in return, which is nice.
Yeah. That's an interesting way of putting things, which is you want the amount of effort you put in to be at least matched by the people above you who have more of a say in the company, maybe, or the direction, so that your work pays off and you feel like you've got more of an impact and you can see that impact. And I think this is interesting. Out of curiosity, and feel free to say no to this. Did you watch my why I left Google video?
I've watched some of it. I
Okay,
did not
so
watch all of it.
okay, that's totally fine. But this is one of the things I talked about, which is at least at a big company like that, you can have impact by just working on your normal work. You make a feature, hundreds of thousands of people use that feature. That's impact. But it's not this sort of direct impact. You're not seeing probably the correlation between I did this work and now here's the revenue of the company, because almost nothing you can do for the company is going to, increase the stock price by a significant amount because they have product launches all the time. And so, yeah, I think in startup life it probably is a bit different, and it's certainly at a very small company like one or two or three people. The work you do is 50 or 100% of the company's work that could be done. So, interesting. So, all of this time, the tenure that you had was in seeking out a place where you could be on the rocket ship.
I think I didn't realize that until like the last couple of years, but I think that's accurate. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and you feel that you found it. I really hope it works out well. I hope that rocket ship can fly and you colonize other planets.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so pivoting a bit here. So, um, you've tried your hand at a few companies. I want to talk about sort of startups and product fit and small teams. What advice would you just have if someone came up to you and said, "Hey, I want to start a company"? They don't even give you any more details than that. They don't know themselves necessarily what they're looking for. What advice can you share with them? What wisdom can you give?
Don't do it.
Turn them right around and walk away.
I think I'd want to drill into like, oh, why do you want to start a company? I think there are some people that want to start a company to be the CEO, to like, because it sounds cool, or like they want to be a big shot or whatever. Those are bad reasons. I think some people want to build a cool idea. That's also a bad reason. I feel like you don't need a company to test something out.
Mhm.
And it's kind of like what you're doing now with your game, like you're rapidly prototyping, you're getting feedback. It's like you need to focus on, are you building something that people want to pay for? And I'm even being like careful not saying people like, because I think you really need to focus on like, who's going to buy this? How much are they going to spend? Um, and like not just, is it fun? Because if it's fun, then it's probably just a hobby, and it's not a company, it's just a hobby. I think that's the part you need to tease apart, where it's like, is this just something I want to do for fun, or is there an actual business behind all of this?
Yeah, this struck me very heavily when I was working on Botland. I think after looking back, it was a mostly for fun project, and that there were some hard questions I would have had to answer. And yet, at the same time, I think that those can be some of the biggest learning opportunities we have is when you fail without realizing that you failed at something. So,
Yeah.
um, you it's clear that you've learned a lot about what you want and how you want to work with people and even the kind of people you want to find from the experience you've had so far. And it's impossible to know what will you learn in the next decade or in 2 decades. What would you say though your career aspirations are now?
Um, oh, it's interesting. I, my like shorter or even medium term career aspirations are just to build compelling pieces of software for customers. And like I just want to focus on like solving real world customer problems and delivering value. That sounds so awful, but like I just, to me that gives like such a high. It was like actually solving someone's real problems. Like yesterday I was at a like a biotech company, like a small startup in Cambridge, Mass. And it was just so fun to be in the room with people, like understanding what they're working on and like brainstorming how to automate, parts of their job that are error prone or tedious. Like it's, I love that. Like, it's like a huge reason why I'm in software is to make people's lives better and to build them like tools they really enjoy to use. So I don't know. I guess I don't have like big career aspirational goals. Like I just want to keep doing that, ideally on a small team, in a successful company. But my kids are young, and I also really want to focus on that. So it's kind of like I don't need to go crazy in the career side of things. I'm kind of happy with like the speed and pace that things are going right now.
That's good. And I think regardless of aspirations, if you're happy where you are and you think you'll be happy where you're going, that's the ideal life to have set up. You mentioned earlier that you were a bit of a lone wolf at these companies and that you'd have a hard time delegating to an executive assistant, and that you're hoping to transition at Braver in about 8 months or 6 months to an advisor role. Do you think that might be ideal where you can solve problems but not have to work on the nitty gritty? Or do you think you'll miss that follow through on, I came up with a solution, I implemented the solution, I delivered the solution?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think I'll miss it, because like as I don't know, like as I'm in the software game longer and longer, like there are things that I just don't like. I can't make another REST API. I can. I just like there are things that are like kind of feeling more tedious, or like writing another Docker file for XYZ or whatever. And so some of those things are becoming a lot easier to delegate because I simply just don't want to do it anymore. And uh, I think if I'm a consultant for Braver, I feel like the challenges that we can solve there are kind of like a better user experience and a better workflow, not necessarily implementing them is like the
Mhm.
most fun thing. And I can also scratch that itch with my full-time job. So I'm hopeful that it'll work out.
Okay. And right now your title is, I believe, lead software engineer. Are you managing people? Are you doing more tech lead sort of thing? Is it a little of both?
I am not managing anyone. I'm, yeah, more of a tech lead.
Okay. So tech lead, because I was going to say, if you end up liking this advisor role, is that something you'd want to shift toward in even your full-time job? And what does that look like? Is it more management? Is it more, I don't know what, but I guess you'll find out as you get the advisor role.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. So actually at Tedder Science, I worked at this company 5 years ago when
Mhm.
it was a much smaller company, and I was like engineer number four. And at that time, I managed the three other engineers, and that was fun and interesting. And I actually like managing people because I feel like like one of the biggest, um, no, I guess maybe challenges, like the people problem in software to me is extremely interesting. Like everyone's motivated by different things, people have different interests, different skill sets. And I think bringing people together to be on the same page, to work together, like is an incredibly rewarding thing. So I actually really like managing people because I like building and working on those kinds of teams. And I think it's a like fun and interesting challenge. But again, I think it's more of like I at this moment, I think I want to focus on just building cool, solutions for users, and I'll come back to the people problem a little bit later.
Yeah, and there are always those opportunities. And so I think this is what's nice about software. There's that flexibility. It's not like you need to go get a different certification or go back to school for something. You can kind of just switch if you have the opportunity, and that's it. Um,
Yeah.
talking about company size, you've sought out startups quite a lot. You've talked about wanting to have an impact and everything. What do you think changes as the company gets bigger?
Um, you definitely get more layers. Um, and let me think of how to best answer that. So again, like I kind of keep harping on this, but I think being close to the customer is really, really important. I think
Hmm.
when you're small, you can be that person. You can directly understand what problem you're trying to solve. And as you get bigger, you add more layers of indirection. You add PMs, you add engineering managers, you add middle management, and it becomes like just a game of telephone, or spinning up other teams that have a difficult time communicating. It really boils down to like just communication can really fall apart, or become just really challenging in general. So that's the biggest thing, and yeah.
Yeah, I'm I'm sort of idly remarking now, but you can sort of see what someone has struggled with in their life by how they answer questions like this now. It's like you have more of a business focus than I'd say most engineers do. And it's probably because you've been in the startup world, because you've seen what a bad startup looks like or what a failed startup looks like and what a good startup looks like. And 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 now you're driving toward things through that. Whereas I think a lot of other engineers are maybe, well, partially at bigger companies, those layers also afford you the ability to completely ignore the customer. If you want to just do what your manager tells you, there are roles for you out there for that. So it's interesting to me to hear this, and it's, helping steer my own endeavors that I want to do. I want to ask you some
Yeah.
kind of general questions that I've had. One is, since your career started, how do you think software has changed? How has it evolved in that time? What's different for you?
Um, wow. Uh, how do I best answer that? So, in no particular order, the first thing that actually comes to mind is I feel like earlier on there was maybe it was just like where I worked and all that, but there was more emphasis on like wireframing and like low fidelity and kind of like flow charting around user journey or even like how software should work in general. And I feel like for at least for the front end side of things, like people like immediately go into Figma or like high fidelity mocks or like and I think that's even been like crazy more accelerated by AI. Like you can I think go to like Vercel's v0.dev and be like like code me up Botland version 2 and it'll spit out like something that looks sort of like it could work. So I don't know, I think like getting at least a user interface like bootstrapped and started more quickly is definitely different. You mentioned it earlier around just waterfall and just the release process. Like, what version of Google are you using? It's like versions and codes is getting deployed all the time. Things are just happening behind the scenes, and the rate at which we deliver software is like just crazy. Um, it's a little bit weird for me in my current role because I work in a lot of like regulated environments, and we actually deploy once a quarter, which is like not at all what I'm used to. And actually, I'm trying to fight a culture shift that's happening where we're like accidentally delivering code at that same, like developing code at the same rate. When I feel like we still need to maintain like a startup
Uh,
mindset and like we can do a lot in that one quarter. It doesn't mean we need to like work at the same pace. Um, but that aside, I forget what I was going to say next, so maybe I'll just leave it at that.
well, the front end part being jumping right to high fidelity mocks, and then also the release product cycle being different. Do you see anything different about programming languages? Do you see anything different about the mentality of people working in software?
Um, yeah, I think that's a good question. So I definitely see a much more diverse set of people that are in software engineering, which I think is awesome. Like I feel like it was a lot of dorks like me back in the day, and it's just like it's cool to see. Like for example, my wife does not have a background in software engineering. But she was self-taught. She learned Python by taking online courses, and over the course of about 8 months, she was able to develop enough skills to land like an entry-level job as like a web content specialist. I think they called it. And then she's like just slowly kept working on her skills, still self-taught, and now she's a senior software engineer at a different company. And it's just awesome. I love seeing that. I'm a firm believer that like if you put in the work, you can make it happen for you and yourself. And it's just great to see like a lot of different people from different backgrounds. I think that builds better software, builds better communities. So there's that. And then languages. Yeah, I think like the tooling in general just seems like better and better. Like maybe that's like obvious, but um, a feeling like I'm writing a lot less boilerplate. Like I can focus on the actual business problems as opposed to like, you know, kind of boring stuff.
Yeah, I see both of those things. And actually, as you were answering, I just thought about how I tried learning some programming way back in the day. And I had physical textbooks for some of it. I had resources written on some random person's blog because that's all you could find because there wasn't this culture of YouTube. And I feel like the barrier to entry has gotten lower. And as a result, you've got more people in it and you've got more software being developed. And at the same time, software has affected everything, right? We don't like, could you buy just a regular alarm clock anymore? Probably, but now it probably has, 4 different features and connects to your phone and I don't know, whatever else. So I think at some end it's getting simplified and at other ends it's getting maybe more complex, but also the scale of what we do grows. If you weren't in software, what do you think you'd be doing?
Um, what do I want to be doing, or what would I be doing?
What would you be doing? Because it had to match, still probably earning money with what you want to be doing, I guess.
I don't know. That's so hard. I feel like there are things that I would want to do, but I don't know what would match like the money and like effort. I don't know.
I
I
would
really
say
don't know.
probably some business related thing based on what you've said. You would have
I,
gotten
I
an
thought you were gonna say
MBA.
convincing people, professional convincer.
That's true. Yeah. And so, okay, I wanted to take some time and I wanted to hang on one second. Sorry, I've mentioned this before, but I have 2 mute buttons to control, so I just control neither of them when I'm in an interview and just cough into the microphone. Uh, I wanted to take some time and field some questions from chat. I don't know if they've been asking some things, so chat, if you've got any questions, please do ask for Steve right now. And then I wanted to ask my last kind of joking question here. You told me recently you got a synthesizer. How has the progress been going for that?
Uh, Bad. Like I'm looking at it right now, and I very much want to play on it and do more. The other night, I was watching a YouTube video around like how to use it with some software, and I fell asleep. And it's just another thing going back to time management. Like I need to actually just carve out time and like say for this hour on Wednesdays, that's going to be synth time because I want to do it. I'm just not prioritizing it.
Yeah, I just, for whatever reason now, YouTube is recommending a lot of Godot videos to me because I'm using Godot, but I don't think I've been searching for them, so I don't know how it's recommending them necessarily. Anyway, I've been looking at some of those and seeing what other people do does make it seem more possible. I don't know if you've been, that video you were watching. I don't know if it's something where it's like, hey, if you're looking for ideas or how you can get started with this sort of thing, here's how you can go about it. But to me, just seeing someone else do something and proving that they can do it makes me more motivated to want to do it. I don't know if you'll feel that with the synth, but anyway, we got a question, so let's see. For Steve, how do you feel about the current job market for people at your level? Do you feel like you would get another job fairly easy?
Um, I feel like the job market's kind of hard in general, especially for entry level people. But for me in particular, I don't think I would have a hard time. I think I'm pretty flexible in terms of domain, so I'm pretty open to like where I would work. And I think there's a healthy demand for like senior level people.
Okay, yeah. Um, what do you think on the more junior front? Not that chat asked this, but do you think it's harder if you were at the junior level to find another job now?
It seems that way, and that's kind of what I'm sensing. Like the last few places have really tightened up on like who we would hire for like just software engineer one kind of people. Yeah, just seems like way more competitive, and companies are a lot less eager to take on and like mentor uh, people. Maybe that's just me because I'm in startups and it's hard to like find time to mentor more junior engineers. So it could be just my experience.
I see. Well, the next question is actually related to this, but it's by a different person. Eddie Boy asks, with the barrier for entry becoming lower, will it ever become oversaturated? And if so, how would you work around that as an entry level developer?
That's a good question. I almost feel like that was more of the case like before the pandemic. I feel like there was a huge influx in like boot camps, and you would just get like I remember just interviewing lots of people that like um, would go to like a general assembly or do boot camp, and the main problem is like all of their resumes looked exactly the same,
Mhm.
and they all had like the same sample project on it of like I
Mhm.
built the to-do app in General Assembly, and none of that really stood out. I think I think to me, you can still win someone over in an interview, and going back to the people problem, like that is still one of the key things to solve in software. And so if you can click with the team, you can be a like great team player. You have the same mindset around how software is built. Like that makes a huge difference. But you still need a resume to get in the door to even have that conversation. So do something on your resume to make yourself stand out. And it could be as simple as like making a different project or just doing something different that's like a little bit outside of what other people are doing. Like work on a passion project and put it out there.
Yeah, yeah. Finding some way to stand out. I definitely agree with that. I'm gonna take, I guess, two more serious questions. There's a joking one in there, which is Steve really tall or is his ceiling low? Camera angle?
It is very, very low. It's like I'm in a basement that has low ceiling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, serious question. So, is there a natural balance between good software practices and achieving the goals of projects? And if so, what usually gets cut in the interest of time, and can that negatively impact end results?
Um, so would you say the question is asking like process versus not process
I think
or
I think
like
it's does good process actually help? Or like, is there a huge difference between disorganized teams or not following sprints or any sort of process you might be following?
yeah, I think there's a spectrum here. I think good process helps, and to me, good process is like a healthy dose of Jira, or not Jira, but like Scrum. Just like the daily stand up, having like sprints, milestones that you want to hit, kind of typical stuff that you would expect on a software team. I think it starts to become really burdensome when you have an excessive amount of planning meetings and like uh, lots of retrospectives and all these ceremonies around this. And I think it can become even more problematic when you start to like delegate process to other teams. So you like might develop a feature and throw it over the wall to a QA team to test it.
Mhm.
And then you might throw another thing over the wall for a DevOps team to deploy it. When you start to split up people and the teams don't own the end-to-end process, and there is a lot of process, I feel like all of that actually leads to bad software because it's a lot of people not understanding how the whole system works.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree. I don't think process should get in the way. And I think what process helps can mean different things for different teams. So I've seen people feel like there's too much red tape and that, oh, if we only didn't have this process, this unnecessary process. And yet sometimes I also see it going the other way where the process feels unnecessary, but it's actually for a reason where, the company was sued in the past and we do this now so that we have a paper trail of we did our best effort to secure this or to make sure we're handling customer data correctly. So yeah, I think there's the entire spectrum of experiences there. I want to thank you, Steve. I've used pretty much the entire hour very densely, asking you a lot of questions. You've been a great guest. I hope you had a good time. and,
I did. I did. Yeah.
and I appreciate it. So yeah, I hope you have a good rest of the day. Thanks for being interview number 2. And yeah, take care.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it. All right. Bye, guys. Bye,
Bye.
chat.
All right. So chat, I'm going to switch scenes, just making sure that I don't show anything I shouldn't be showing here. All right. There we go. All right. So claps for Steve. Thank you for being on the show. I'm also just realizing I had my green screen up the entire time. So I think I need to write this down somewhere when it comes to prep to take down my green screen. Take down my green screen. Yeah. I hope chat enjoys that too. I like how this worked at the end where we asked some questions, but I should probably collect questions throughout the whole thing. So that was the second interview that I planned on doing in a series of interviews, and I wanted to base this on how these all went. So I'm happy with this. We'll put this video online somewhere. I'll bump this down to here, past interviews. Next interview, not scheduled yet. I think for the next interview, I've talked to Windy Beard Games about, hey, would you be okay with an interview? And he said yes. So I'm thinking of reaching out to him next. Yeah, I could have the bot collect questions. Yeah. There are tools that do this stuff too. And I would just need to use one. As long as I didn't see chat wasn't too busy for this. Let me see. Is it worth working for big tech companies like AWS or Google? Is it better for younger engineers to go to startups or medium-sized companies? I think this all depends on what you want. So there's a balance. If you think about the reasons to work for a job, it's, people, product, compensation, location, the technology used. It could be anything, right? And it could be, work-life balance here. It could be anything, and companies will have different mixes of this, and then different teams in those companies will have different mixes. So is it worth it is kind of like, well, what do you value and what are you trying to do? So for example, if you value growing as an engineer, then being the sole engineer in a company is probably not going to help you grow as much as being around other people who can help steer you and set a good example. 4 hours of work per week. No, that's for the part-time job that Steve is working. Then there was also the full-time job on top of that. Wait, you might be talking about the 4-hour work week. Oh, that was, like I said, that was more philosophy, which was like, what work is important to do, and are you doing that work? It wasn't necessarily actually get down to 4 hours. Yeah. Okay. I think I've read most of this. Yeah. Where's my complaint redemption? Yeah, you had 100,000 because what was it? I reverted all of the channel point redemptions for complaining about chat, or complaining about what the redemptions are, and then something else. Anyway, I refunded them all. I think that starting in a big company as a junior is one of the best things you can do to get your career kickstarted. I think it can be, but I don't know. I think you can. I don't know how this is going to sound, but I think you can sort of mess up at any job and get almost no value out of it. It all depends on how seriously you're treating it. Anyway, I have been streaming for quite a long time. I'm going to get going. I'm going to take my lunch break. It's about noon for me. I'm going to come back at about 1 o'clock. And when we do, we're going to get back to game prototyping. So we're going to continue working on Idle Ascendants. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the interview. Oh yeah, there's one last thing I wanted to say, which is YouTube. So we are gonna watch a video premiere at 12:30. I have never done this before. I made a video on Cloudflare tunnels, and I don't even know what a premiere is on YouTube. I don't think I've ever watched one, but I think you get live chat for that time, and you can all watch together and say what stupid things you find about the video or something. I don't know. Anyway, that's it for me. I'll see you all after lunch. Thanks for watching. Bye.